If your mind feels like it never stops running, if worry creeps in the moment you wake up and follows you into the night, you're not alone. Anxiety can make it hard to focus, hard to rest, and even harder to feel at peace in your own skin. But here's the good news. There are simple, practical steps you can take that work every time to quiet that restless mind. In this audiobook, you'll discover how to ease the tension in your body, shift the thoughts that keep you stuck, and finally create space for calm. Imagine being able to get through your day without feeling like your nerves are always on edge. Imagine having tools that help you stay steady when life gets overwhelming. Stay with me. Because in this journey, you're about to hear not just what to do, but how to actually make peace with your thoughts and bring real calm into your daily life. Chapter 1, practice deep breathing daily to calm your anxious mind. An anxious mind never arrives suddenly. It builds quietly, through small worries, repeated thoughts, and the habit of living in the future instead of the present. Anxiety feeds on speed, on scattered attention, on a lack of awareness of what is happening right now. One of the most direct and powerful ways to take back control is through the most natural thing we all do without thinking, breathing. Yet, because it is so ordinary, most people underestimate its impact. To practice deep breathing daily is to give yourself a reliable way to quiet an anxious mind at any moment. It is simple, accessible, free, and effective. And when practiced with discipline, it becomes a tool that strengthens resilience and gives clarity in the face of stress. When a person feels anxious, the body reacts as if it is under real threat. The heart races, the muscles tighten, the chest feels heavy, and the thoughts spin rapidly. This reaction is part of the body's natural defense system. But for most people living with daily stress, it is constantly activated, even when there is no real danger. Breathing is the only automatic process in the body that we can also control voluntarily. By changing the way we breathe, we can send signals to the brain that the body is safe, which reduces the stress response. Slow, deep breathing lowers the heart rate, relaxes tense muscles, and calms the nervous system. This is why making deep breathing a daily practice is more than just a relaxation technique. It is training the body and mind to respond to life with steadiness rather than panic. The first key insight is that most anxious people breathe incorrectly without realizing it. Shallow breathing from the chest, rapid inhales and exhales, and holding the breath are all common patterns that make anxiety worse. By paying attention to the breath and practicing deep breathing, a person replaces these unhealthy patterns with calm, steady rhythms. The goal is not just to control anxiety when it appears, but to build a foundation of calm that makes anxiety less likely to dominate. Breathing correctly strengthens the mind's ability to stay present, and presence is where anxiety cannot thrive. To begin, the practice does not need to be complicated. Find a quiet place and sit comfortably with your back straight. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your stomach. As you inhale slowly through your nose, notice where the air moves. If the chest rises more than the stomach, it means the breath is shallow. The practice of deep breathing trains you to draw air fully into the lungs so that the stomach rises first, then the chest. This simple awareness shifts the breath from shallow to deep, activating the body's relaxation response. Inhale slowly for a count of 4. Hold the breath for a count of 4. Then exhale gently through the mouth for a count of 6. With every round, the body begins to release tension, and the mind feels less restless. Daily consistency is what makes this powerful. Practicing deep breathing for just 5 to 10 minutes every morning sets the tone for the day. It is like preparing the mind before it faces challenges, giving it a steady foundation. Over time, the body learns to stay calmer even in stressful situations, because the nervous system becomes conditioned to return to balance more quickly. Many people try this once or twice and expect immediate transformation, but the real impact comes from repetition. Discipline turns deep breathing into a natural habit, and habits shape the way a person experiences life. A common obstacle is distraction. When starting the practice, the mind often wanders. Thoughts about the past or worries about the future interrupt the breathing. This is not failure. It is part of the training. Every time the mind drifts, bring attention back to the breath. Each return strengthens focus and builds mental discipline. Over weeks and months, this practice develops the ability to observe thoughts without being controlled by them. Anxiety loses its grip because the person is no longer pulled away by every passing thought. The breath becomes an anchor that holds the mind steady. Breathing also teaches patience. In a world that moves quickly and demands immediate reactions, slowing down the breath creates space between stimulus and response. Instead of reacting impulsively, you give yourself a pause to choose your action. This is one of the most practical benefits of deep breathing. It creates the discipline to respond with clarity, whether in a difficult conversation, during unexpected challenges, or when facing daily responsibilities. This kind of self-mastery is not dramatic but steady, and over time it builds confidence. Knowing you can return to calm no matter what happens is one of the greatest strengths a person can carry. To apply deep breathing in daily life, begin with structured practice. Set a specific time every day, ideally morning, to practice for 10 minutes. Use a simple timer if needed. Focus fully on the breath and complete each inhale, hold, and exhale with awareness. Over days, expand this practice into other moments of the day. For example, before answering a stressful phone call, take 3 slow breaths. Before entering a meeting, pause and breathe deeply. At night, before sleep, breathe slowly to quiet the mind. These small applications transform breathing into a lifestyle rather than just a morning routine. Another useful method is to combine breathing with visualization. As you inhale, imagine drawing in calm energy, and as you exhale, imagine releasing tension and worry. This simple mental exercise strengthens the connection between body and mind. It is not about pretending problems do not exist, but about building the inner stability to face them with a clear head. Over time, the brain associates breathing with safety and relaxation, making it easier to quiet anxiety whenever it appears. One of the most empowering truths about deep breathing is that it belongs fully to you. No one can take it away, and it requires no special equipment. It is a tool, always within reach, available in every moment of your life. When you wake in the morning, breathe deeply to prepare your mind. When you feel overwhelmed, breathe to calm your nerves. When you are about to make an important decision, breathe to clear your thinking. When you cannot sleep, breathe to settle your body. This universal accessibility is what makes it so effective. The key is not just knowing this truth, but living it every day with discipline. A person who practices deep breathing daily does more than manage anxiety. They train the nervous system to remain balanced, strengthen mental focus, and build emotional resilience. They also cultivate a deeper awareness of the present moment. Most anxiety comes from resisting the present and living in imagined futures. Breathing pulls attention back to what is real and happening now. In this presence, life feels more manageable and less threatening. The discipline of breathing is also an exercise in self-control. Every controlled inhale and exhale is an act of directing the mind and body. Instead of allowing fear and stress to dominate, you take command of your inner state. This sense of control builds confidence in other areas of life. If you can guide your breath, you can guide your thoughts. If you can calm your body, you can calm your decisions. Mastering the smallest discipline creates strength for the larger challenges. It is important to understand that anxiety will not vanish completely. Life will always bring challenges, uncertainty, and change. The goal is not to eliminate anxiety, but to prevent it from dominating your life. Deep breathing gives you the strength to live with calm even in uncertain circumstances. It teaches you that peace is not something found outside, but something created within. This inner strength cannot be taken away by external events. It is a stability you carry with you. Many people search for complex solutions to anxiety, hoping for quick fixes or external answers. The truth is often simpler than expected. Breathing is the foundation of life, and by mastering it, you master your response to life. Daily practice builds discipline, and discipline builds freedom. The ability to breathe deeply in moments of fear is the ability to choose calm over chaos. This choice, repeated every day, changes who you are and how you live. Imagine the difference between 2 lives. One person allows anxiety to control them. They rush through days with shallow breath, their mind always scattered, their body always tense. Small problems feel overwhelming, and they never feel at peace. Another person practices deep breathing daily. Their body is steady, their mind is calm, and they face challenges with clarity. Problems still come, but they are handled with strength rather than panic. The only difference is discipline in the smallest act of living. This choice belongs to everyone, including you. To build this habit, commit to a specific daily practice. Start with 10 minutes in the morning. Focus fully on each breath, and repeat the process every day without excuse. Track your consistency. Notice the changes in your mood, your focus, and your ability to handle stress. Over time, increase the length if possible, but the key is regularity, not duration. Even a few minutes of disciplined breathing each day builds strength that compounds over time. When you first begin, progress may feel slow. Some days the mind will resist and distractions will pull your attention. Other days, the practice may feel easy and peaceful. Both are part of the process. The goal is not perfection, but persistence. Each time you sit down and breathe with awareness, You strengthen the foundation. Over months, you will notice that stressful situations no longer control you in the same way. The body responds differently, the mind feels clearer, and calm becomes more natural. The long-term impact of daily deep breathing cannot be overstated. It lowers blood pressure, improves sleep, strengthens the immune system, and enhances focus. More importantly, it gives you the confidence that no matter what happens in life, you have a way to return to calm. This assurance reduces the fear of anxiety itself, which is often the greatest burden people carry. Knowing that peace is always a few breaths away changes the way you live. You are not powerless against an anxious mind. You are not trapped by racing thoughts or restless energy. You have within you the ability to create calm at will, and it begins with the discipline of breathing deeply every single day. Life will always bring challenges, but you can meet them with strength instead of fear. Deep breathing is not just a technique. It is a way of living with presence, clarity, and resilience. It works every time, and the more you practice, the stronger you become. Quieting the anxious mind begins with a single breath. Continue that breath daily, repeat it with discipline, and soon it becomes the foundation of a calmer, stronger, and more confident life. This is the power of practicing deep breathing daily to calm your anxious mind. Chapter 2, create a morning routine that sets a peaceful tone. The way you start your morning determines the quality of your entire day. And if you want to calm an anxious mind, you must build a morning routine that gives you peace, strength, and focus before the world demands anything from you. Too often, people wake up already tense, rushing to check their phones, stressing about responsibilities, and stepping into the day with scattered energy. This is how anxiety gains control before you even leave your bed. By creating a morning routine with intentional practices, you give yourself the opportunity to set a tone of calm and confidence, ensuring that you face challenges with balance instead of panic. A peaceful morning routine is not about adding complicated rituals or copying what others do. It is about building small, consistent actions that align with your needs and create a strong mental foundation. The first step is to decide that your mornings are sacred and must not be controlled by distraction or urgency. This means avoiding the habit of immediately checking messages, emails, or news as soon as you wake up. When you start your day by consuming external noise, you hand over your peace to the world. Instead, protect the first moments of your morning for yourself. Keep your phone aside and commit to beginning the day with silence, stillness, and intentional choices. One of the simplest but most effective parts of a peaceful morning routine is waking up at a consistent time. When your body wakes at the same hour each day, it develops a natural rhythm that makes mornings less stressful. You avoid the fatigue of irregular sleep, and your mind feels more rested. This is especially important for those with anxiety, because stability and predictability reduce uncertainty. By keeping your wake-up time steady, you train both body and mind to feel secure from the very start of the day. After waking, move your body gently. This does not need to be intense exercise, but some form of stretching, walking, or light movement brings energy into the body and reduces the heaviness that often fuels anxious thoughts. Movement also stimulates circulation and signals to the brain that the day has begun with vitality rather than sluggishness. Even 5 minutes of stretching with slow awareness of each motion can shift your mental state from restless to grounded. Another key to a peaceful morning is practicing silence before the day becomes noisy. Many people are uncomfortable with silence and immediately fill it with television, music, or conversations. But silence has a powerful effect on an anxious mind because it teaches you to listen inwardly and recognize your own state before being influenced by the outside world. Sitting quietly, even for a few minutes, allows your nervous system to settle. You notice your breath, your body, and your thoughts, which creates awareness instead of chaos. This practice does not require meditation in a strict sense, but simply allowing space for stillness where you are not rushed or distracted. A peaceful morning also benefits greatly from reflection. Taking a few minutes to write down your thoughts, your priorities, or even what you feel grateful for helps to organize the mind. When thoughts are left unexamined, they swirl endlessly and create anxiety. Writing them down creates clarity and prevents the mind from holding unnecessary weight. Gratitude in particular is powerful because it shifts attention from what is missing to what is already good. Beginning the day by acknowledging even small blessings reduces fear and creates a balanced perspective that carries into the rest of the day. Nutrition plays an important role as well. What you eat in the morning influences your energy, focus, and mood. Heavy, processed, or sugary foods can create crashes that worsen anxiety later in the day. Choosing a light, balanced meal with whole foods gives the body steady fuel and prevents unnecessary stress on the system. Hydrating with water before consuming caffeine is also beneficial, as dehydration and excessive stimulation can intensify anxious feelings. A mindful breakfast does not need to be elaborate, but it should be intentional and supportive of calm energy. An often overlooked part of a peaceful morning is environment. The space where you wake up influences your mood. A cluttered, chaotic environment creates a restless mind, while a clean and organized space creates calm. Making your bed, keeping your surroundings tidy, and letting natural light into the room may seem small, but these actions build a sense of order that reduces mental stress. Your outer environment reflects your inner state, so shaping it in the morning is a powerful way to support peace. Another practice to include in a morning routine is setting a simple intention for the day. Anxiety thrives when the mind feels uncertain or directionless. By setting one or two clear intentions in the morning, you guide your energy with purpose. These intentions do not need to be grand. They can be as simple as choosing to stay calm in conversations, finishing one important task, or being mindful with your time. This anchors the day in clarity instead of leaving it to chance. Breathing practices can also be incorporated into the morning routine, but in a different way from the focused breathing session described earlier. In the morning, taking a few slow, deep breaths while standing or stretching helps transition from sleep to wakefulness with calmness rather than rush. It signals to your nervous system that the day begins with stability, and it can be done in less than a minute. Morning routines must also avoid overcomplication. Many people fail to maintain routines because they create long lists of tasks that are unsustainable. A peaceful routine should be realistic, fitting within the time you have without creating pressure. The goal is to build consistency, not perfection. Even if your morning includes only 3 practices, waking at the same time, stretching, and writing down gratitude, that alone can transform the way you experience your day. Over time, as these habits become natural, you can add more practices that align with your needs. The strength of a morning routine is not found in its length, but in its consistency. Every day, you repeat the same simple actions. You send a message to your mind that you are in control. This builds confidence, reduces anxiety. Routines also remove unnecessary decision-making, which frees the mind from stress. Instead of wondering what to do first every morning, you simply follow a clear structure. This predictability creates peace. The impact of a peaceful morning routine extends beyond the morning itself. When you begin the day with calmness, you carry that calm into the challenges ahead. You are less reactive, more focused, and more resilient when risk arises. You no longer feel like the day controls you. Instead, you guide the day. Over weeks and months, this practice reshapes your relationship with anxiety. Instead of beginning each day with stress and carrying it forward, you start with balance and allow it to influence everything that follows. Building this habit requires discipline. Some mornings you may feel tired or tempted to skip the routine, but each time you follow through despite resistance, you strengthen your ability to lead your life rather than be led by emotion. Discipline itself becomes a source of peace because it builds trust in yourself. Knowing that you will honor your morning routine no matter how you feel removes uncertainty and gives you stability. When creating your routine, it is helpful to start small. Choose 2 or 3 practices you can commit to daily without struggle. For example, waking up at the same time, stretching for 5 minutes, and writing down one gratitude. Do this consistently until it becomes automatic. Then, if you wish, add more practices such as silence, intention setting, or mindful eating. Over time, you will have a morning that feels natural, peaceful, and supportive of your well-being. The most important truth is that your mornings are the foundation of your entire day. If you rush, worry, and scatter your attention as soon as you wake, you set the pattern for anxiety to follow you. If you slow down, care for yourself, and create calm through consistent actions, you build strength that carries into everything you do. Your morning routine is not a luxury, it is a necessity for mental peace. A peaceful day begins with a peaceful morning, and a peaceful life is built one morning at a time. By creating a routine that aligns with calmness and discipline, you transform not only how you face today, but of how you live every day after. This is the power of choosing to create a morning routine that sets a peaceful tone. Chapter 3. Write down your thoughts to release mental tension. Your mind was never designed to carry endless thoughts all at once. And when you hold everything inside without release, tension builds until it feels overwhelming. Writing down your thoughts gives you a powerful way to empty the noise from your head, organize your feelings, and free yourself from mental pressure. What often feels like a giant storm inside becomes far more manageable once it is placed on paper, where you can see it clearly instead of being trapped by it. This simple practice has helped countless people gain clarity, calm their anxiety, and regain control over their emotions. When worries stay in the mind, they repeat in circles. The same thought appears again and again, draining energy and creating stress. Writing stops this endless cycle by giving your thoughts a home outside your head. Instead of carrying them, you transfer them to a page where they can no longer consume your attention. The act of writing is not just about recording words, but about creating space inside yourself. That space is where peace can grow. Writing down your thoughts does not require talent or skill. You do not need perfect grammar, structure, or even full sentences. The goal is not to create something beautiful, but to create something honest. It is enough to pick up a notebook or even a simple sheet of paper and begin putting your thoughts into words. By making this a daily practice, you train your mind to let go rather than hold on. One of the most effective ways to use writing for tension release is what many call a mind dump. At the start or end of the day, write everything that comes to your mind without judgment or editing. Worries, tasks, fears, questions, frustrations, let them all flow onto the page. Do not stop to analyze or organize while writing. The purpose is release. Once these thoughts are on paper, your mind no longer needs to keep repeating them. This alone can reduce stress significantly, because your brain trusts that nothing important will be forgotten. You've stored it in writing. Another powerful approach is journaling your emotions. Anxiety often comes from feelings that remain unexpressed. Writing about what you feel allows you to face those emotions directly instead of avoiding them. If you are angry, write why. If you are afraid, describe what you fear. If you are uncertain, admit it on the page. By naming emotions, you lessen their power. What is vague in the mind becomes specific on paper, and what is specific becomes easier to manage. Writing also helps with problem solving. Many people feel anxious because they carry problems without direction. When you write down a challenge, you can break it into smaller steps. Instead of thinking, my life is out of control, you might write, I am struggling with finances, relationships, and time management. From there, you can list practical actions for each area. This shifts your mind from helplessness to clarity. By writing, you separate what is in your control from what is not, and this distinction frees you from unnecessary tension. Some people resist writing because they fear confronting their thoughts. They worry that seeing them on paper will make them worse. The truth is the opposite. Avoiding your thoughts gives them more power. Writing them down reduces their weight, because you are no longer running from them. The page becomes a safe space where you can face yourself without judgment. In time, this practice builds courage and self-awareness, which are essential for lasting peace. Consistency is where the greatest benefits appear. Writing once may feel good, but writing daily transforms the way you live. Just 10 minutes of writing in the morning or evening creates a rhythm of release. Over weeks, you will notice that your mind feels lighter, your decisions feel clearer, and your emotions feel less chaotic. This is because your brain has learned to let go regularly instead of holding on endlessly. To begin building this habit, choose a notebook dedicated only to this practice. Keep it in a place where you can access it easily, such as by your bed or on your desk. Every day, sit down and write without overthinking. If you cannot think of anything to say, write exactly that. I don't know what to write. Soon, words will come. The key is not perfection, but presence. What matters is showing up and releasing what is inside you. Writing can also be guided by prompts when you feel stuck. Simple questions like, what is worrying me right now? Or what is the most important thing on my mind? Can open the door. Other prompts such as, what went well today? Or what do I need to let go of? Help shift your focus and give your mind direction. By using prompts, you avoid staring at a blank page and instead step directly into reflection. Over time, this practice becomes more than stress relief. It becomes a tool for growth. Reading past entries shows you how far you've come, how patterns repeat, and how your perspective evolves. This reflection builds confidence and self-understanding. Anxiety thrives in confusion, but writing gives you a mirror that shows your progress clearly. A peaceful mind is not created by ignoring stress, but by managing it wisely. Writing is one of the most direct ways to do so. It transforms the invisible into the visible, the overwhelming into the manageable, and the chaotic into the clear. Each page you fill is a step toward freedom from tension. The act may seem small, but its effect on your mental health is profound. If you commit to this habit, you will notice a change not only in your anxiety, but also in your confidence. You will feel lighter because you will no longer carry everything alone. You will make decisions with greater calm because your thoughts will be sorted instead of tangled. You will also sleep better because releasing thoughts onto paper before bed clears the mind for rest. This is not about writing like an author or creating something others will read. This is about writing for yourself, for your own peace. The page holds your secrets without judgment, your worries without criticism, and your fears without rejection. It is a companion that listens endlessly, and in that listening, it gives you relief. The anxious mind wants to keep everything spinning endlessly, but you do not have to let it. You have a tool that works every time you use it. By writing down your thoughts, you take control of your inner air. You replace tension with clarity, confusion with order, and fear with understanding. Over time, you will notice that you carry less weight because every day you have a safe place to put it down. Your life improves the moment you stop letting thoughts pile up, unspoken. Start writing today, continue tomorrow, and keep building the habit until it becomes natural. This daily release will give you peace of mind and the freedom to live with focus, balance, and strength. Writing down your thoughts is not just an exercise, it is a discipline that transforms anxiety into calm and uncertainty into direction. And the best part is that the power to do it has always been in your hand. Chapter 4. Focus on one task fully to reduce overwhelming stress. The fastest way to bring peace into your life is to train your mind to give its full attention to one single task at a time. Because divided focus is the fuel of overwhelming stress. When you scatter your energy across too many things, you create chaos inside yourself. You think about what needs to be done later while working on what is in front of you. And this split leaves you exhausted and anxious. True calm comes from the discipline of doing one thing fully, giving it your best, and only then moving on to the next. This way of living not only lowers stress but also increases effectiveness and builds confidence in your ability to handle challenges. Modern life pushes people into constant multitasking. Phones buzz with notifications, work demands pile up, and responsibilities compete for attention. Many believe they are more productive by handling everything at once. But what actually happens is the opposite. The brain becomes overwhelmed, mistakes increase, and the sense of being behind never goes away. Focusing on one task cuts through this illusion. It allows you to work with clarity and purpose, which reduces tension and makes each accomplishment more satisfying. When you focus fully, you enter a state where time feels slower and distractions lose their grip. The mind, instead of racing between 10 different concerns, settles into the simplicity of the present action. This single-point attention is not only practical but deeply calming. It tells the nervous system there is no need for panic because you are in control of what you are doing right now. Stress thrives in uncertainty, but certainty grows each time you decide to complete one thing fully before starting another. A simple way to build this habit is to begin each day by deciding on your most important task. Write it down, commit to it, and give it your full attention until it is done. Avoid opening several projects at once, because every unfinished piece pulls at your mind. When you complete one task fully, you not only reduce stress, but also free up mental energy for the rest of the day. Progress in small, focused steps is far more powerful than trying to conquer everything at once. It is also essential to remove distractions when practicing single-task focus. Turn off unnecessary notifications, clear your workspace, and set boundaries with people when needed. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to stay with one task. A cluttered space encourages a cluttered mind, while a simple, clean space supports deep concentration. Even a short period of uninterrupted focus can achieve more than hours of distracted effort. Many people fear that focusing on one task will make them fall behind on others. But the truth is the opposite. When you spread yourself thin, you move slowly on everything. When you give your best to one thing, you finish it faster and with higher quality, which then gives you more time for the next. This creates momentum instead of stress. Anxiety comes when you feel like nothing is ever fully finished, but peace comes when you see things through to completion. Another benefit of focusing on one task is the confidence it builds. Each completed task is proof of your ability to follow through. Instead of ending the day with half-finished projects and lingering worries, you end with clear results. This strengthens self-trust, which is one of the most powerful antidotes to stress. The more you trust yourself to complete what you start, the less anxious you feel about your responsibilities. To apply this in daily life, practice the discipline of pausing. Whenever you feel pulled in multiple directions, ask yourself, what is the one thing I can do right now that matters most? Then commit to it fully. This question cuts through overwhelm and helps you act with purpose. Even if other tasks remain, giving yourself permission to handle them later allows your mind to relax into the present. It is also helpful to use time blocks for focus. Choose a set period, such as 25 or 50 minutes, to work on one task without interruption. After that block, take a short break, then return for another. This trains your mind to concentrate deeply for manageable periods and prevents burnout. Over time, your ability to stay with one task will grow stronger, and distractions will lose their power. Stress often comes not from the amount of work, but from the way we approach it. 10 tasks scattered across your mind feel unbearable, but the same 10 tasks completed, one by one, feel entirely manageable. The difference lies in focus. By practicing single-task attention, you prove to yourself that you are capable of handling what comes. Not all at once, but step by step with calm determination. There's also a deeper psychological benefit. Anxiety thrives on a racing mind that jumps from one worry to another. When you train your mind to stay with one task, you train it to stay in the present. This presence is where peace lives. You stop fighting with the future or regretting the past, and instead pour yourself into the now. This mental discipline strengthens not only your productivity but also your emotional balance. It is important to recognize that single-task focus is a practice, not a one-time choice. At first, you may notice your mind wandering frequently. You may feel tempted to check your phone or jump to another responsibility. Each time you notice this, bring yourself back to the task at hand. Do not judge yourself for drifting. Simply return. Every return is a strengthening of your focus muscle. And over time, it becomes natural to stay present. Even daily routines like eating, cleaning, or having conversations can become practices of single-task focus. Eat without scrolling through your phone. Clean without worrying about the next chore. Listen to someone without planning your response. These simple acts of full attention train your brain to live without constant stress. They turn ordinary moments into opportunities for calm. Life will always present you with many responsibilities, but you are not meant to carry them all at once. By choosing to focus on one thing fully, you lighten your load and regain control over your state of mind. The result is not just lower stress, but a greater sense of satisfaction and purpose. You move through your day with calm strength, rather than restless urgency. In the end, focusing on one task is not about doing less. It is about doing better. It is about giving your best energy to what matters now, and trusting that the rest will follow. It is about freeing your mind from the trap of overwhelm, and building a rhythm of steady progress. The more you live this way, the more you will find that stress loses its grip, replaced by a calm confidence that grows with every completed task. You have the choice each day to scatter your attention or direct it with purpose. When you choose to focus fully on one task, you reclaim your peace of mind. You discover that calm is not something you wait for. It is something you create through discipline and clarity. Stress does not come from having too much to do, but from refusing to give yourself fully to the one thing in front of you. Commit to this practice, live it daily, and watch how your anxious mind transforms into a calm and capable force. Chapter 5. Train your body with exercise to quiet anxious energy. The quickest way to release the restless storm inside your mind is to move your body with purpose and discipline. Because exercise transforms anxious energy into calm strength. Anxiety often feels like a buildup of pressure that has nowhere to go. Thoughts race. The heart pounds and the nervous system feels trapped in overdrive. But the body has a natural release valve, and that is physical movement. When you train your body, you give anxious energy a healthy outlet, and what once felt unbearable becomes manageable. Exercise does not have to mean hours at the gym or pushing yourself beyond your limits. It simply means consistent movement that engages your muscles, raises your heart rate, and signals to your brain that you are safe. Even a short walk, steady stretching, or a few minutes of focused breathing combined with movement can calm your nervous system. The goal is not to punish yourself with exercise, but to use it as a tool to quiet your mind. When you move your body, chemicals like endorphins and dopamine are released. These are the natural mood lifters that reduce tension and bring a sense of balance. Anxiety feeds on stagnant energy and overthinking, but movement interrupts that cycle. It shifts the focus from racing thoughts to physical action, from tension to release, from restlessness to rhythm. Every time you choose movement, you are choosing peace over chaos. Many people overlook how powerful regular training can be for mental health, because they see it only as a way to change appearance. But when you shift the purpose from looks to mental clarity, exercise becomes a daily medicine for your mind. Each session, no matter how small, becomes a statement that you are taking back control over how you feel. It is not about perfection, but about consistency. Even 10 minutes a day can reduce the weight of anxiety that lingers on your shoulders. One of the most effective ways to quiet anxious energy is through activities that demand both focus and movement. Strength training, yoga, swimming, cycling, or even dancing all engage the body and the mind together. These practices anchor you in the present moment, making it harder for anxious thoughts to dominate. As your body works, your mind is guided into stillness. This is why people often feel lighter and more centered after exercise. The mind finally has space to breathe. It is also important to note that exercise trains more than muscles. It trains resilience. Every time you push through discomfort, you build mental toughness. Anxiety often convinces you that you are fragile, but training your body proves otherwise. You discover that you can handle resistance, endure effort, and come out stronger on the other side. This realization spills over into every area of life, making you less likely to crumble under pressure. To make exercise a reliable tool against anxiety, it must become a routine rather than a rare event. Waiting until you feel overwhelmed to move your body will always feel harder than building it into your daily rhythm. Start simple. Pick a time each day where movement becomes non-negotiable. Whether it is morning stretches, an afternoon walk, or an evening workout, treat it as a meeting with yourself that cannot be canceled. Over time, it will become a habit as natural as eating or sleeping. Consistency is what rewires the body and mind together. The more often you train, the more your nervous system learns to regulate itself. Your sleep improves, your breathing slows, and your body carries less tension. This is not just about managing anxiety in the moment. It is about building long-term stability. Anxiety thrives in a body that is neglected, but it weakens in a body that is strong, flexible, and cared for. Another advantage of exercise is the sense of achievement it brings. Finishing a workout, no matter how small, sends a clear message to your brain. You are capable. You are disciplined. You are in control. Anxiety loves to tell you the opposite, that you are helpless and stuck. Physical training contradicts this lie with undeniable evidence of progress. Each repetition, each lap, each completed session is proof that you are stronger than your anxious thoughts. There will be days when you feel too heavy with worry to move, but those are the days when training matters most. The hardest step is always the first one, putting on your shoes, unrolling the mat, or walking out the door. Once you start, the body takes over and the relief begins to flow. You do not need motivation to begin, only the decision to act. Motivation often follows movement, not the other way around. If you want to make exercise even more effective for calming anxiety, combine it with mindful awareness. Pay attention to how your body feels as you move. Notice the rhythm of your breath, the stretch of your muscles, the strength in your movement. This focus deepens the calming effect and turns exercise into moving meditation. Instead of using your workout to escape your thoughts, use it to anchor yourself in the present moment. Over time, you will start to notice changes not just in your body, but in your entire approach to stress. Challenges that once triggered panic will feel less threatening. Your body, trained to release tension through movement, will carry less of the weight of anxious energy. You will stand taller, breathe deeper, and handle life with more steadiness. This is the quiet strength that training brings, the kind that no storm of thoughts can easily shake. It is also worth remembering that exercise does not need to be perfect to be powerful. You do not need the best plan or the most advanced techniques. What matters is that you move regularly, listen to your body, and stay consistent. Small steps done daily are far more valuable than big efforts done rarely. The habit is what changes you, not the occasional burst of activity. Think of training your body as a gift to your mind. With every drop of sweat, every movement, every completed session, you are giving yourself freedom from the grip of anxious energy. You are building a foundation of strength that carries you through the hardest days. You are proving that you are not at the mercy of your thoughts. You have tools, you have control, and you have the power to create peace inside yourself. The more you make exercise a part of your life, the less control anxiety will have over you. What once felt like unbearable restlessness will become manageable. What once kept you awake at night will fade into calm. What once made you doubt yourself will be replaced with confidence. Training your body is training your mind, and every step you take toward movement is a step away from the chains of anxiety. You hold the choice right now. You can stay trapped in restless energy, or you can release it through consistent movement. You can allow anxiety to dominate, or you can quiet it with strength. Your body is the key. Train it with discipline, use it as your ally, and watch as your anxious mind grows calmer, steadier, and more at peace than you ever thought possible. Chapter 6, build a gratitude habit to shift your mental focus. The fastest way to calm a restless mind is to shift your focus from what is missing to what is already present. And that shift begins with gratitude. Anxiety thrives when attention is placed on fears, uncertainties, and everything that feels out of control. Gratitude interrupts that cycle by drawing your mind toward what is working, what is steady, and what is good in your life. It is not about denying challenges, but about refusing to let them dominate your perspective. When you choose gratitude, you are choosing strength over fear, clarity over confusion, and peace over worry. Gratitude is powerful because it changes the lens through which you see the world. Instead of waking up and immediately counting problems, you wake up and count blessings. That shift in focus does not erase difficulties, but it equips you to face them with calm and perspective. Anxiety shrinks when the mind begins to notice even the smallest sources of stability and comfort. The human brain cannot hold gratitude and fear with equal strength at the same time. So every act of gratitude weakens anxiety's grip. Building a gratitude habit is about consistency, not perfection. It is not enough to feel grateful once in a while. You must practice it daily until it becomes part of your thinking pattern. One of the simplest ways to start is by writing down 3 things each morning that you are thankful for. They do not have to be extraordinary. Clean water, a roof over your head, the sound of birds outside your window, or the presence of someone who cares for you are all worthy of recognition. By naming them, you train your mind to notice what is already good, rather than only what is lacking. The act of writing is especially powerful because it anchors your gratitude in reality. Thoughts can fade quickly, but words on paper remain. Over time, this growing list becomes undeniable evidence that your life contains more support and goodness than your anxious mind wants to admit. On hard days, looking back at what you have written can bring perspective, reminding you that even when life feels heavy, blessings still exist. Another effective practice is to pause during the day and notice moments of comfort as they happen. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, a smile from a stranger, the taste of a meal, or the sound of laughter. These small details can be enough to shift your mental state if you pay attention to them. Anxiety often wants your mind to dwell on the future or replay the past, but gratitude brings you back to the present moment, where life actually happens. Practicing gratitude does not mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It means acknowledging reality while choosing not to let fear dominate your focus. You can be grateful for the strength to endure a challenge, the lessons a setback teaches, or the opportunity to begin again. Gratitude does not eliminate difficulty, but it transforms the way you carry it, turning heaviness into resilience. One of the greatest benefits of gratitude is the way it reshapes relationships. Anxiety often isolates, making you feel alone in your struggles. Gratitude reconnects you to others by highlighting their positive role in your life. Expressing thanks to people who have supported you strengthens bonds and builds trust. A simple message of appreciation, a phone call, or a kind word can deepen connections and create a support system that reduces feelings of loneliness. Consistency is the key to making gratitude a habit that changes your mindset. It is not about waiting for big moments to be thankful. It is about making it a daily discipline, regardless of circumstances. The more you repeat the practice, the more natural it becomes to see life through a lens of appreciation. At first, your anxious mind may resist, but over time, gratitude begins to replace old patterns of fear and doubt with stability and perspective. Anxiety often makes you feel powerless, but gratitude gives you back control over where you place your attention. You may not be able to change the future or rewrite the past, but you can choose to notice what is present and good right now. That choice is empowering because it reminds you that peace is not found in eliminating every problem, but in shaping how you respond to them. Building a gratitude habit also improves physical well-being. Research shows that people who practice regular gratitude sleep better, experience lower levels of stress hormones, and maintain steadier energy throughout the day. When the mind feels lighter, the body follows. Your breathing slows, your muscles relax, and your nervous system finds balance. Gratitude is not just an emotional practice, it is a full-body shift toward calmness. There will be days when anxiety feels stronger than gratitude, when the weight of stress overshadows the good. On those days, keep the practice simple. Find one thing, just one, that you can hold on to. It might be as basic as having air to breathe or the chance to see another sunrise. Even the smallest spark of gratitude is enough to begin shifting your focus, and small sparks can grow into steady light over time. To make gratitude a lasting habit, attach it to routines you already have. Think of one thing you are grateful for while brushing your teeth, Write down a short list before you check your phone in the morning. Reflect on the good parts of your day before you fall asleep at night. By linking gratitude to existing habits, you make it harder to forget and easier to maintain. Another way to deepen gratitude is to share it out loud. Speak your thanks at the dinner table during a conversation or while spending time with family and friends. Hearing yourself express gratitude reinforces it in your own mind and encourages others to focus on the positive as well. Gratitude is contagious, and by practicing it, you not only quiet your own anxiety, but help create a calmer environment for others. Over time, you will notice that gratitude changes the way you interpret challenges. Instead of seeing only loss, you will begin to see opportunity. Instead of focusing on what went wrong, you will recognize what went right. Anxiety may still whisper doubts, but gratitude gives you the inner strength to respond with clarity. This is how gratitude builds resilience. It does not erase storms, but it anchors you so you do not get swept away. The truth is, life will always contain uncertainty, but your response to it is within your control. Gratitude is one of the most reliable tools you can use to keep your mind steady when the future feels unknown. By making it a daily practice, you create a foundation of peace that anxiety cannot easily shake. You are not powerless against worry. You have the ability to retrain your mind, and gratitude is one of the simplest yet most profound ways to do it. Each time you choose appreciation over fear, you build a stronger, calmer version of yourself. Each moment of gratitude is a step toward quieting your anxious mind and reclaiming your peace. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes, until gratitude is no longer something you have to remember. It is simply how you live. And when gratitude becomes your habit, anxiety loses its control, leaving space, clarity, strength, and lasting calm to take its place. Chapter 7. Limit negative inputs to protect your mental peace. Protecting your peace begins with guarding what you allow into your mind, because every input shapes the way you feel, think, and act. Anxiety often grows not only from personal worries, but also from the constant flood of negativity that surrounds you in daily life. News headlines filled with fear, conversations soaked in criticism, social media designed to spark comparison, and environments that drain rather than uplift all leave their mark on your mental state. If you want to quiet your anxious mind, you must take control of what enters. Every thought you carry is either strengthened or weakened by what you expose yourself to. When you consume negativity daily, your mind adapts to that atmosphere, becoming more restless, more fearful, and more unsettled. But when you limit harmful inputs, you begin creating space for clarity and calm. Just as you would not eat spoiled food and expect your body to thrive, you cannot feed your mind with toxic influences and expect peace to flourish. What you allow in matters as much as how you process it. The first step is awareness. Begin noticing the patterns of your day and ask yourself which inputs increase your stress and which ones ease it. Pay attention to how you feel after scrolling through social media, watching the news, or engaging with certain people. Anxiety often rises quietly, but your emotions reveal the impact of those inputs. If you consistently feel drained, angry, or unsettled after an activity, it is a signal that it may not deserve as much space in your life. One of the most powerful changes you can make is reducing the amount of time spent consuming negative media. While staying informed has value, exposing yourself to endless cycles of fear-driven content keeps your nervous system in a state of tension. You do not need to absorb every headline to live responsibly. Limiting news intake to a set time or choosing sources that deliver information without sensationalism helps protect your mental balance. Information should guide you, not paralyze you. Social media is another major source of mental unrest. Platforms are built to capture attention, often by amplifying conflict, comparison, and outrage. Scrolling without awareness can leave you feeling inadequate or agitated. Protecting your peace means setting boundaries, choosing when and how to use these platforms rather than letting them control you. Following accounts that inspire growth, limiting exposure to harmful content, and taking regular breaks create healthier patterns that allow your mind to rest. The people around you also shape your internal state. Relationships filled with constant negativity can quietly erode your calmness. You cannot control how others behave, but you can decide how much access they have to your energy. Distance does not always mean cutting ties completely. It may simply mean limiting certain conversations, spending less time in draining environments, or redirecting discussions toward positive ground. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It is necessary for your well-being. A useful practice is to build intentional filters. Before engaging with any source of input, whether media, conversation, or entertainment, Ask yourself, does this nourish my mind or drain it? If it brings growth, clarity, or inspiration, it is worth keeping. If it leaves you feeling worse than before, it may not deserve your time. This deliberate awareness prevents harmful content from entering unnoticed and keeps your focus aligned with peace. Replacing negative inputs with positive ones is equally important. Once you reduce harmful exposure, fill that space with influences that strengthen you. Read books that bring wisdom, listen to music that calms, surround yourself with people who encourage growth, and spend time in environments that restore balance. What you add is just as important as what you remove, because the mind needs steady nourishment to remain calm and resilient. It is also valuable to practice digital discipline. Devices make it easy to be connected at all times, but constant notifications and endless streams of content create a restless mind. Setting limits on screen time, turning off unnecessary alerts, and creating tech-free spaces in your day. Give your nervous system a chance to reset. Quiet moments without digital noise allow you to think clearly, breathe deeply, and live with more presence. Protecting your mental peace requires discipline, because the modern world constantly pushes negativity forward. But every boundary you create is an act of self-respect. Choosing not to engage in arguments, refusing to consume harmful media, and stepping away from environments that drain you are choices that protect your stability. With each decision, you reclaim control over your mental space, proving to yourself that peace is a priority. Over time, you will notice that your mind feels lighter and more focused when harmful inputs no longer dominate your attention. Anxiety lessens not because life becomes easier, but because your inner world becomes less cluttered. When your inputs are intentional, your thoughts are clearer, your emotions steadier, and your decisions stronger. Peace is not found by eliminating all challenges, but by refusing to feed them with constant negativity. Protecting your peace also makes you more available for growth. When the noise of negativity is reduced, space opens for gratitude, focus, and resilience to grow stronger. You begin noticing opportunities instead of obstacles, solutions instead of problems, and progress instead of setbacks. By choosing what enters your mind carefully, you create the environment necessary for self-improvement and long-term calm. This practice is not about isolating yourself from the world, but about taking responsibility for your mental environment. You cannot always choose your circumstances, but you can choose your inputs. That choice is one of the most powerful tools you have in building a calm and resilient mind. Peace of mind is not something given. It is something built through discipline and protection. Limiting negative inputs is the foundation of that process. Each time you turn away from harmful influences, you strengthen your ability to remain calm in the midst of pressure. Each boundary you create is a reminder that your well-being is worth protecting. The truth is clear. If you want lasting calm, you cannot fill your mind with chaos. Protect your peace by choosing carefully, limiting what drains you, and surrounding yourself with what uplifts you. When you master this discipline, your anxious mind grows quieter, your focus sharper, and your life steadier. You have the power to decide what enters your mental space, and in that decision lies the key to peace. Chapter 8, speak kindly to yourself to strengthen inner stability. The words you speak to yourself hold the power to shape your entire state of mind. And when you choose kindness in those words, you build an inner stability that no external storm can easily shake. Most of the anxiety people carry does not come only from outside pressures, but from the harsh voice they hear within. That voice criticizes, doubts, and undermines confidence until even small challenges feel overwhelming. To quiet an anxious mind, you must learn to replace that voice of judgment with one of encouragement and strength, because the way you talk to yourself becomes the way you experience life. When your inner dialogue is filled with harshness, you live in a constant battle against your own mind. Every mistake is magnified. Every setback becomes proof of failure, and every effort feels insufficient. This creates unnecessary tension that feeds anxiety and drains energy. On the other hand, when you train yourself to speak kindly within, you create a steady foundation of calmness that allows you to handle difficulties with greater resilience. The external world may still bring challenges, but your internal world becomes a place of safety rather than conflict. Kindness toward yourself is not weakness or indulgence. It is discipline. It is the deliberate choice to treat yourself with the same respect and compassion you would naturally extend to someone you care about. Think about how you would respond to a close friend struggling with fear or doubt. You would not tear them down. You would encourage them, remind them of their strengths, and help them see possibilities. That same support is what you owe yourself, and it begins by reshaping your inner voice. A practical way to start is by becoming aware of your self-talk throughout the day. Pay attention to the words you use when you make a mistake, when you feel anxious, or when you face uncertainty. Are you criticizing yourself? Are you repeating thoughts that weaken your confidence? Awareness is the first step, because you cannot change what you do not notice. Once you catch the negative words, you can begin replacing them with words that bring stability. For example, instead of telling yourself, "I can't handle this," you can say, "I am learning to handle this step by step." Instead of saying, "I always fail," you can say, "I am still growing, and progress takes time." Instead of saying, "I am weak," you can say, "I am stronger than I realize, and I am improving daily." These simple adjustments in language transform the way your mind processes challenges. The situation may remain the same, but your ability to face it improves because your self-talk gives you courage instead of fear. This practice requires consistency. A single kind thought may bring temporary relief, but long-term change comes from building the habit of supportive self-talk. Repetition creates new mental pathways. The more you replace criticism with encouragement, the more natural it becomes for your brain to respond with calmness instead of panic. Over time, this new voice becomes automatic, turning into a shield against anxiety. It is also helpful to create specific affirmations that you repeat daily. These affirmations should not be unrealistic fantasies, but grounded statements of strength and stability. Words like "I am capable of facing what comes," "I am patient with my growth," and "I am enough as I am," are reminders that anchor your mind when anxiety rises. Speaking these words consistently builds inner stability because the brain begins to accept them as truth. Kind self-talk also influences your physical state. Harsh thoughts create tension in the body, tightening muscles and increasing stress hormones. Gentle, encouraging words relax the nervous system, slow your breathing, and allow your body to release unnecessary tension. In this way, the language you use within directly affects your health. By speaking kindly to yourself, you are not only calming your mind, but also protecting your body from the damaging effects of anxiety. Another important aspect is learning to forgive yourself. Anxiety often grows when you replay past mistakes and criticize yourself endlessly for them. But holding on to regret keeps your mind trapped in cycles of fear. Forgiveness is the act of letting go. Not forgetting what happened, but choosing not to use it as a weapon against yourself anymore. Telling yourself, "I did my best with what I knew then, and I am wiser now," allows you to move forward with clarity instead of being anchored by self-blame. Surrounding yourself with external kindness also strengthens your ability to speak kindly within. When you engage with people who encourage, support, and uplift you, it becomes easier to adopt that same language internally. But even when external support is lacking, you have the power to provide it for yourself. You can become your own source of stability by practicing words that heal instead of harm. Inner stability is built step by step. Each time you choose compassion over criticism, each time you replace harshness with patience, you add another layer of strength to your foundation. Anxiety loses its grip, not because life becomes easier, but because your self-talk creates resilience. You become someone you can rely on, someone who speaks truth and encouragement even in the hardest moments. The reality is that you will still make mistakes, face uncertainty, and encounter difficulties. But when your inner dialogue is rooted in kindness, those moments no longer destroy your confidence. Instead, they become opportunities for growth. You begin to see yourself not as a fragile person overwhelmed by anxiety, but as a strong individual capable of handling challenges with calmness. That is the power of speaking kindly to yourself. It changes your entire identity from within. Imagine the difference in your daily life when your first response to fear is not self-criticism, but reassurance. Instead of saying, "I'll never manage this," you hear, "I will take this one step at a time." Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," you hear, "I am growing and improving each day." That voice of stability is what carries you through the storms without letting them break you. You cannot always control what others say about you, but you can always control what you say to yourself. That control is where your true power lies. No external opinion can shake someone who has built a strong, kind, and steady inner voice. Your stability does not depend on approval from the outside, but on the discipline of how you treat yourself on the inside. Choosing kind self-talk is a lifelong practice, but it begins with one decision: the decision to no longer allow your inner voice to tear you down. Every day you have the chance to reinforce that decision by speaking words of strength, patience, and encouragement. With time, those words become the foundation of a calmer mind, a steadier heart, and a life where anxiety no longer controls you. The path to peace is not found in silencing your thoughts, but in shaping them. Speak kindly to yourself. and you will discover a source of stability that cannot be taken away. In that stability, you will find the courage to face life's challenges with calmness and the strength to keep moving forward with confidence. Chapter 9. Sleep consistently to restore calm and clear thinking. If you want to restore your calm and sharpen your thinking, one of the most powerful yet overlooked tools is consistent sleep. Too often people treat sleep as optional, as something to cut short when there is work to finish, television to watch, or distractions to chase. But without proper rest, your mind loses clarity, your emotions become unstable, and your ability to handle stress weakens dramatically. Sleep is not wasted time. It is the very foundation of mental strength, emotional balance, and resilience against anxiety. When you lack consistent sleep, your mind begins to scatter. Simple tasks feel heavy, small problems feel unmanageable, and your mood shifts unpredictably. You may try to push through with caffeine, with distractions, or with sheer willpower, but the truth is that nothing replaces the restoration that comes from real rest. Sleep is when the brain repairs itself, organizes thoughts, and prepares you to face challenges with clarity. Without it, you are running on an empty tank, and over time, anxiety becomes louder because your mental defenses are weakened. Think about how different your day feels after a good night's sleep. Your thoughts flow more clearly, your reactions are calmer, and your body feels lighter. This is not an accident. This is the natural power of rest. The brain processes emotions during sleep, filtering stress and helping you release tension that builds throughout the day. If you rob yourself of that time, the stress lingers, accumulating like clutter in a room until it overwhelms you. The key is not just to sleep more, but to sleep consistently. Going to bed and waking up at regular times trains your body and mind into a rhythm. That rhythm signals your nervous system when it is time to relax and when it is time to wake fully alert. Inconsistent schedules confuse the body, leaving you feeling tired even after hours in bed. True restoration comes when sleep becomes a stable pattern, not an afterthought squeezed between distractions. Creating this consistency starts with intention. You must value sleep enough to protect it. That means setting boundaries with your time, turning off devices, and preparing your environment to encourage rest. Darkness, quiet, and a cool temperature tell the body it is safe to enter deep sleep. Avoiding stimulants late in the day helps prevent the restless tossing that keeps you awake. These simple changes create the conditions for real rest, and once practiced regularly, they transform the quality of your days. Anxiety often interferes with sleep, creating a cycle where worry keeps you awake, and lack of sleep makes the worry worse. Breaking that cycle requires giving your mind a gentle signal that the day is over. This can be done through calming rituals like reading a few pages of a book, writing down lingering thoughts in a journal, or practicing slow breathing before bed. These actions act as bridges, helping your mind transition from the busyness of the day to the calm required for rest. Sleep also directly influences decision-making. When you are well rested, you make clearer choices, avoiding unnecessary stress caused by poor judgment. Fatigue clouds reasoning, leading to impulsive reactions and mistakes that create new problems. Over time, this lack of clarity fuels anxiety because life feels chaotic and uncontrolled. Consistent sleep restores that sense of control, grounding your decisions in calm thinking. There is also a strong connection between sleep and emotional balance. Without rest, emotions swing wildly, leaving you vulnerable to irritability, frustration, and hopelessness. This emotional volatility feeds anxiety, making even ordinary events feel overwhelming. On the other hand, when your mind has had sufficient rest, you approach difficulties with patience and composure. You can pause, think, and respond instead of being hijacked by stress. This stability is one of the greatest gifts that consistent sleep offers. The body, too, relies on sleep to regulate hormones that affect mood, focus, and energy. When you cut sleep short, stress hormones remain elevated, fueling anxiety. At the same time, hormones that promote calmness and positivity decrease, leaving you more vulnerable to negative thoughts. A steady sleep pattern balances these systems naturally, creating harmony between body and mind. Some people treat sleep as a luxury, believing they can sacrifice it in the pursuit of productivity. Yet the truth is the opposite. Without sleep, productivity declines sharply. Work takes longer, errors multiply, and motivation drops. What you gain in extra waking hours, you lose in efficiency and quality. In contrast, consistent sleep makes you sharper, faster, and more capable. This improvement reduces unnecessary stress and builds confidence, further quieting anxiety. There will always be nights when rest is interrupted, perhaps by worries, unexpected events, or obligations. But what matters is the overall pattern. Returning to consistency after disruptions ensures that the body does not drift into chronic exhaustion. Just as nutrition and exercise build health over time, consistent sleep builds resilience that cannot be achieved through shortcuts. For those who struggle with racing thoughts at night, one powerful practice is gratitude reflection. Before sleep, bring to mind a few things that went well during the day. No matter how small, this shifts the brain from focusing on what is unfinished or stressful to recognizing what is positive and complete. Ending the day with gratitude creates a mental state more conducive to rest, allowing you to drift into sleep with peace instead of worry. Another useful tool is deep breathing or meditation before bed. By slowing your breath and focusing on the present moment, you calm the nervous system, signaling to the brain that it is safe to let go. This simple practice can reduce the restless tossing that keeps many awake. Over time, it becomes a reliable ritual that your mind associates with sleep. The benefits of consistent sleep accumulate quietly. Each night builds on the last, strengthening your capacity for focus, calmness, and emotional balance. Over weeks and months, you notice not only that your anxiety lessens, but that your confidence grows. You feel more capable of handling challenges because your mind is no longer clouded by fatigue. This transformation is not dramatic in the moment, but profound in its long-term impact. Imagine facing a stressful situation after several nights of poor sleep. Your patience is thin, your thoughts are scattered, and your emotions are raw. Now imagine facing that same situation after weeks of steady, restorative rest. You approach it with clarity, calm, and confident. The situation may be the same, but your response is entirely different. That difference comes from the stability that consistent sleep provides. Choosing to sleep consistently is not about giving up time. It is about reclaiming your strength. It is about investing in your ability to live with calmness and clarity. By honoring your need for rest, you give yourself the foundation to face life's pressures without being overwhelmed by them. You restore balance not only to your nights, but to your entire way of living. Every day begins the night before. When you sleep with consistency, you wake with strength. When you wake with strength, you live with clarity. And when you live with clarity, anxiety loses its hold on your mind. That is the quiet but extraordinary power of sleep. It restores what the world takes away, and it prepares you to meet each new day with calmness and control. Chapter 10. Eat nourishing foods that support emotional balance daily. What you put into your body each day shapes the way you feel, think, and respond to the challenges of life. And if you want lasting emotional balance, you must begin with the foods you choose to eat. Nutrition is not only about physical strength or appearance, it is deeply connected to the state of your mind. The meals you prepare, the snacks you reach for, and the choices you make at the table influence the chemistry of your brain, which in turn determines your mood, focus, and ability to manage stress. When you fill yourself with nourishing foods, you give your mind the fuel it needs to remain calm and steady even in the face of anxiety. Every day, your body is working tirelessly to regulate hormones, stabilize energy, and maintain balance, and food is the raw material it uses for this work. If you provide it with whole, nutrient-rich options, it thrives. If you give it processed, artificial, and empty calories, it struggles. That struggle shows up not only in fatigue, but also in mental unrest, irritability, and heightened anxiety. This is why making deliberate food choices is not just about health. It is about peace of mind. Consider the difference in how you feel after eating a meal. Rich in vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins compared to a heavy plate of fast food. The first leaves you satisfied but light, steady, and focused, while the second may leave you sluggish, restless, and unfocused. These physical reactions directly influence your emotional state. Anxiety feeds on instability, and poor eating habits create constant highs and lows that make it harder to find equilibrium. Nourishing foods help stabilize blood sugar, which plays a critical role in mood regulation. When your levels rise and fall sharply because of sugary snacks or refined carbohydrates, your emotions mirror that instability. You may feel an initial burst of energy followed by a crash that leaves you irritable or uneasy. By choosing foods that digest slowly, such as oats, legumes, or brown rice, you provide your body with steady energy, preventing those sudden shifts that make anxiety harder to manage. Equally important are the vitamins and minerals that support brain function. Nutrients like magnesium, omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B complex, and zinc are directly linked to emotional balance. Magnesium helps relax the nervous system. Omega-3 support brain health. B vitamins regulate mood-related neurotransmitters. and zinc is tied to resilience against stress. When you eat leafy greens, nuts, seeds, fatty fish, beans, and colorful fruits, you are not just feeding your body, you are equipping your brain with the tools it needs to stay calm and resilient. Hydration is another often overlooked factor in emotional health. Even mild dehydration can lead to fatigue, irritability, and poor concentration. If you rely mostly on caffeinated or sugary drinks, you may unintentionally heighten your anxiety. Water, herbal teas, and hydrating foods like cucumbers or oranges provide the balance your body needs. A clear, hydrated body leads to a clearer mind. Food also influences the gut, and the gut directly communicates with the brain through what scientists call the gut-brain axis. A diet high in processed foods harms the gut's healthy bacteria, while nourishing foods rich in fiber, probiotics, and prebiotics strengthen it. Yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, bananas, beans, and whole grains all contribute to a balanced gut environment, which in turn promotes emotional stability. A strong gut means a calmer mind. Another critical aspect of eating for emotional balance is consistency. Just like with sleep, your body functions best when it has a rhythm. Skipping meals or eating at irregular times can cause fluctuations in mood and energy. Regular meals keep your blood sugar steady and your body assured that it will be cared for, reducing the unnecessary stress signals that fuel anxiety. A steady rhythm of balanced meals tells your system it is safe, and safety is the foundation of peace. Food can also serve as an act of self-respect. Choosing to eat nourishing meals is a way of telling yourself that you matter, that your health is worth protecting, and that your peace of mind deserves support. When you make thoughtful choices, you strengthen not only your body, but also your sense of discipline and control. This small act builds confidence, and confidence weakens the grip of anxiety. The environment in which you eat also matters. If you consume meals in a rush, distracted by screens or overwhelmed by noise, you rob yourself of the calming power of food. Eating slowly, savoring flavors, and appreciating the meal creates mindfulness. This mindfulness grounds you in the present moment, allowing you to release anxious thoughts, if only for a short while. Turning meals into moments of calm can transform the way your mind associates with food. It is equally important to recognize the foods that work against your peace. Excess caffeine can heighten nervousness and interfere with sleep. Sugary snacks may provide comfort in the moment, but lead to emotional crashes. Highly processed foods filled with artificial additives strain the body and confuse the mind. Reducing these choices is not about strict deprivation, but about creating space for better options. By crowding your plate with nourishing choices, the less supportive foods naturally fade into the background. Learning to prepare simple, nourishing meals at home can be one of the most empowering steps you take for emotional stability. Cooking allows you to control ingredients, portion sizes, and flavors, ensuring that your meals are aligned with your goals. It becomes more than just eating. It becomes an intentional practice of caring for your emotional health. Even small changes like preparing a vegetable-filled omelet instead of grabbing fast food make a noticeable difference in how you feel. Nourishing foods also support long-term resilience. Anxiety often worsens when the body is under constant physical stress, and poor diet is one of the biggest contributors to chronic inflammation. Whole foods fight inflammation, supporting not only your mood but also your overall health. By reducing processed foods and increasing your intake of fresh, nutrient-dense meals, you are strengthening your body's defense against both physical illness and mental unrest. One powerful step is to begin your day with a balanced breakfast. Instead of starting with sugary cereals or skipping the meal altogether, choose options like oatmeal with nuts, eggs with vegetables, or smoothies packed with fruits and seeds. This sets a stable foundation for your energy and mood, reducing the likelihood of stress spikes later in the day. Each choice builds momentum, and that momentum shapes the entire course of your day. Even in moments of stress or busyness, reaching for nourishing snacks can keep you grounded. A handful of almonds, a piece of fruit, or a cup of yogurt provides stability without overwhelming your system. These small decisions accumulate, creating a pattern of care that strengthens your resilience against anxiety. Over time, you begin to notice the subtle but powerful effects of consistent nourishment. Your mood stabilizes, your focus sharpens, and your ability to handle daily stress improves. You no longer ride the emotional roller coaster of sugar crashes or caffeine overloads. Instead, you move through your day with steadiness, supported by the choices you make at each meal. Emotional balance is not built in a single moment, but through repeated daily actions. Food is one of those actions that you cannot avoid, which means every meal is an opportunity to support your peace of mind. By choosing nourishing foods consistently, You transform eating from a routine necessity into a powerful tool for emotional strength. When you eat in a way that honors your body, you honor your mind. Each bite becomes a step toward clarity, calmness, and confidence. By committing to nourishing choices every day, you give yourself not only physical energy, but also the emotional stability needed to face life with strength. Food is more than fuel. It is a daily practice of self-care, and through it, you can quiet the anxious mind and build the steady foundation for lasting peace. Chapter 11. Replace fearful thoughts with positive, empowering beliefs. Your mind becomes what you feed it, and when fear dominates your thoughts, it dictates how you feel, act, and respond to life. But when you consciously replace fearful thoughts with empowering beliefs, you take control of your emotional state and your future. Fear is not always a reflection of reality. Often it is a projection of what might happen, a story your mind tells to prepare for danger, whether real or imagined. When left unchecked, these fearful thoughts spiral, creating anxiety, hesitation, and self-doubt. The moment you choose to replace them with positive, empowering beliefs, you interrupt that cycle and reclaim your power. The first step is awareness. You must recognize when fear arises, what triggers it, and how it manifests in your mind. Pay attention to the subtle signs, tension in the body, racing thoughts, or a sudden sense of dread about a task or situation. These signals are not weaknesses. They are opportunities to intervene and choose a different thought pattern. Awareness allows you to pause and assess the validity of your fears instead of automatically accepting them as truth. Once you identify fearful thoughts, challenge them. Ask yourself whether these thoughts are based on evidence or assumptions. Often fear exaggerates potential outcomes, imagining worst-case scenarios that rarely occur. By questioning these thoughts, you create space for perspective. Replace "I cannot handle this" with "I am capable of learning and growing through challenges." Replace "something bad will happen" with "I have overcome difficulties before and can do so again." Simple reframing of thought patterns shifts your mental energy from stress to empowerment. Beliefs are reinforced through repetition. To replace fear with confidence, repeat affirmations or positive statements that counter negative thinking. Say, "I am strong, I am capable, and I can manage this situation consistently." Writing these statements down and reviewing them daily strengthens their influence, gradually overriding fear-based narratives. Your brain begins to accept these empowering statements as reality, creating a mindset that naturally responds with courage instead of anxiety. Visualization is another powerful tool. When you imagine yourself handling situations with calmness and competence, you train your mind to react that way in real life. Visualization turns abstract positive beliefs into tangible experiences, making it easier to replace fear with confidence. Picture yourself facing challenges calmly, speaking assertively, and taking action without hesitation. The more you practice this mental rehearsal, the more your subconscious adopts it as a guide for actual behavior. Empowering beliefs also grow when you focus on past successes. Reflect on times you overcame fear, solved problems, or achieved goals despite doubt. These memories are proof that you are capable, and recalling them strengthens your confidence in the present. Fear often thrives because we forget our ability to cope. By consciously remembering your resilience, you create a foundation upon which new positive beliefs can be built. Daily habits reinforce your mental transformation. Engage in activities that promote a sense of competence and self-reliance. Completing tasks, learning new skills, and maintaining discipline demonstrate to yourself that you can handle challenges. Each small victory becomes a brick in the foundation of empowering beliefs, while fear diminishes because it no longer dominates your experiences. Language matters. The words you use internally and externally shape your beliefs. Avoid phrasing that reinforces helplessness, doubt, or inadequacy. Instead, speak and think in terms of capability, growth, and opportunity. Replace "I hope I can do this" with "I will do this to the best of my ability." Replace "I am not ready" with "I am preparing and improving every day." Intentional language creates a mental environment where fear has no room to grow. It is also essential to surround yourself with positive influences. People, books, podcasts, and environments that reinforce strength, courage, and possibilities support your efforts to replace fear with empowerment. Exposure to uplifting messages and examples of resilience teaches your mind that success and calmness are achievable. Conversely, excessive exposure to pessimism or fear-driven narratives can undermine your progress. Be selective with what you allow into your mental space. Emotional practice complements thought work. When fear arises, allow yourself to feel it without resistance, but do not let it dominate your actions. Acknowledge the emotion, label it as fear, and then intentionally focus on a positive, actionable belief. For example, I feel fear, but I am capable of acting wisely despite it. This method trains your mind to experience fear without being controlled by it, reinforcing inner stability. Consistency is crucial. The mind is trained over time, not instantly transformed. Replacing fearful thoughts with empowering beliefs requires daily attention and deliberate practice. Each time fear appears, interrupt it with an empowering thought. Each time you succeed in shifting perspective, you reinforce neural pathways that support resilience. Over months, these repeated practices cultivate a mind that defaults to confidence rather than anxiety. Understanding that fear often stems from uncertainty is important. You cannot predict every outcome, but you can choose how you respond. Empowering beliefs give you a framework to act with courage, even when the future is unknown. I may not know what will happen, but I can handle whatever comes is a belief that transforms uncertainty into possibility rather than dread. Choosing beliefs that prepare you to act rather than freeze in fear is a hallmark of emotional strength. Physical support enhances mental work. Regular exercise, sufficient rest, and proper nutrition strengthen the nervous system and improve cognitive clarity, making it easier to replace fear with empowering beliefs. A well-cared-for body creates a resilient mind, and a resilient mind naturally generates positive, proactive thoughts. The mind and body work together, and investing in both accelerates your ability to transform fear. Accountability and reflection reinforce change. Share your goals with trusted allies, track your progress, and review daily or weekly how effectively you are replacing fearful thoughts. Reflection allows you to notice patterns, celebrate successes, and adjust strategies. Awareness of progress itself becomes a source of empowerment, demonstrating that you are capable of controlling your inner world. Over time, replacing fearful thoughts with positive beliefs transforms your entire perception of life. Situations that once caused dread are met with calm evaluation and constructive action. You approach challenges with curiosity and confidence instead of hesitation and panic. Your emotional baseline shifts toward stability, and your reactions are measured rather than reactive. Fear still appears occasionally, but it no longer dominates your decisions or mindset. The process requires courage, because fear is persistent, but every deliberate effort weakens its hold. Each day spent practicing positive beliefs strengthens neural pathways that favor confidence over anxiety. Gradually, your mind becomes a place where fear is acknowledged, but does not control you. Empowering beliefs become the default, guiding your actions, shaping your responses, and creating a life rooted in calm, clarity, and capability. Your ability to replace fearful thoughts with positive beliefs is one of the most effective tools for long-term mental mastery. By consciously choosing the beliefs that govern your mind, you gain freedom from cycles of anxiety and hesitation. You create a mind that is resilient, proactive, and prepared to face life with strength. This transformation is practical, actionable, and available to anyone willing to commit to daily practice, proving that the most powerful change always begins within. Chapter 12, connect with supportive people to ease emotional weight. The people you spend time with shape the energy you carry, and connecting with supportive individuals is one of the fastest ways to lighten your emotional load and strengthen your resilience. Life can be heavy when faced alone, and even the strongest individuals feel the weight of challenges more intensely without support. A trusted friend, a mentor, or a community that uplifts you provides more than comfort. They provide perspective, encouragement, and a reminder that you are not carrying your burdens in isolation. Emotional weight is easier to manage when shared with those who genuinely care, and these connections form a foundation for a calmer, more confident mind. Supportive people act as mirrors that reflect your strengths back to you. When anxiety clouds your perception, you may underestimate your abilities or exaggerate obstacles. Speaking with someone who sees your potential and believes in you shifts your mental state. They remind you of what you are capable of and help you recognize progress that fear and self-doubt often obscure. This reinforcement transforms your mindset from one of limitation to one of possibility. Human connection also has a biological impact. Positive social interactions release oxytocin, a hormone that reduces stress and promotes feelings of trust and safety. Laughter, empathy, and shared experiences lower cortisol levels, which are associated with anxiety and tension. In other words, supportive relationships are not only emotionally comforting but also physically beneficial, creating a natural buffer against stress. The key is to seek relationships that are reciprocal and uplifting. Surrounding yourself with individuals who drain your energy, criticize excessively, or focus on negativity amplifies anxiety rather than reducing it. Identify people who listen without judgment, provide honest guidance, and celebrate your growth. These are the connections that genuinely ease emotional weight and cultivate stability in your life. Building such connections requires initiative. It means reaching out, making time, and showing vulnerability. Expressing your concerns or struggles to someone you trust is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of strength. Sharing your challenges allows others to provide perspective, practical advice, or simply emotional presence, all of which reduce the pressure you carry internally. Over time, these conversations create trust, deepening the support system that anchors your mental well-being. Active listening is equally important in these relationships. When you engage with others attentively, showing empathy and understanding, you foster a cycle of mutual support. Helping someone else through their struggles often mirrors back to you a sense of purpose and connectedness, which lightens your own emotional burden. Connection is not one-sided. It thrives on give and take, creating a balance that sustains both parties. Supportive people can also act as accountability partners. Anxiety often grows when you feel stuck or uncertain about your actions. Sharing your goals and intentions with someone who encourages and monitors progress increases your commitment. Their presence motivates you to follow through, and their reassurance reminds you that setbacks are part of growth, not signs of failure. Accountability nurtures confidence while reducing the fear of judgment that often fuels anxiety. Physical presence matters, but so does consistent communication. Regular check-ins through messages, calls, or meetings maintain the sense of support even when life becomes busy. Consistency in connection builds trust and provides a steady emotional anchor, so you are less likely to feel isolated during stressful periods. Even brief but meaningful interactions reinforce that you are not facing life alone. It is important to cultivate diversity in your support system. Some people offer practical advice, others provide emotional empathy, and some inspire through their energy and example. Each type of connection serves a unique purpose in strengthening your resilience. By balancing these relationships, you create a network that supports all aspects of your mental and emotional health, from problem solving to encouragement to inspiration. Boundaries are also essential. True support does not mean becoming entangled in every challenge or carrying the burdens of others at the expense of your own well-being. Healthy connections allow for support while maintaining respect for personal space and emotional capacity. Knowing your limits and respecting theirs ensures that the relationship remains positive and reinforcing rather than draining. Engaging in group activities, communities, or shared interests can amplify this effect. Being part of a group with aligned values or goals creates collective energy that eases emotional stress. Whether it is a hobby, a professional network, or a volunteer organization, shared experiences foster belonging and reduce the sense of isolation that amplifies anxiety. Feeling understood within a community reminds you that your struggles are part of the human experience rather than a personal failing. Gratitude enhances these connections. Regularly acknowledging the support you receive and expressing appreciation strengthens relationships. When you value and recognize others, you build a positive feedback loop that deepens trust and encourages continued support. Expressing gratitude not only uplifts others, but reinforces your own emotional balance by focusing your attention on what is positive and stable in your life. Supportive people also challenge you to grow. They provide honest feedback, encouragement to step outside comfort zones, and reminders of your potential when fear tempts you to retreat. These challenges, offered with care and understanding, expand your capacity to handle stress and develop resilience. Growth often comes from facing difficulties with guidance, and supportive relationships provide the framework for doing so safely. Social connections offer perspective that your own mind cannot always generate. Anxiety distorts reality, making problems seem larger than they are. By discussing concerns with someone you trust, you gain insight and objectivity. Their viewpoint can reveal solutions, alternatives, and possibilities that you might overlook, turning feelings of helplessness into actionable steps. Perspective is a gift that supportive people provide effortlessly. Investing in these relationships requires effort and patience. Deep, meaningful support does not appear overnight. It grows through repeated interactions, shared vulnerability, and mutual trust. Small, consistent actions, listening, checking in, offering encouragement, compound over time, creating a network that reliably eases emotional weight and strengthens mental stability. It is also important to remember that support can come from multiple sources. Family, friends, mentors, colleagues, and even professional counselors all contribute in different ways. Each layer of connection adds security, helping you manage anxiety from multiple angles. A strong support network ensures that when challenges arise, you have resources to draw upon, reducing the sense of isolation that feeds stress. Ultimately, connecting with supportive people is an active choice and a daily practice. It is not about avoiding life's difficulties, but about creating a foundation from which you can face them with greater ease. Sharing, listening, and engaging with those who uplift you allows anxiety to lose its grip, because it cannot dominate a mind grounded in human connection. The power of these relationships is transformative. Each conversation, each shared experience, and each act of support builds a stronger, calmer, and more confident mind. Connecting with supportive people is not a luxury. It is essential for emotional balance and resilience. When you cultivate these relationships intentionally, you lighten your mental load, strengthen your inner stability, and create a life where anxiety no longer controls your actions or your sense of self. Chapter 13. Set small daily goals to regain a sense of control. Taking control of your life starts with small, deliberate actions. And setting daily goals is one of the most effective ways to reclaim a sense of mastery over your mind and your circumstances. When anxiety takes hold, it often feels like life is spiraling beyond your control. Like every task is too big and every challenge too heavy. The solution is not to overhaul everything at once, but to focus on achievable steps that build momentum and restore confidence. Each small goal accomplished is proof that you are capable, and this proof compounds over time, quieting anxious thoughts and strengthening your sense of agency. Daily goals act as anchors in a chaotic world. They give your mind a clear direction and a tangible way to measure progress. Without them, days can blur together, leaving you feeling overwhelmed, ineffective, and mentally exhausted. By choosing even simple goals like organizing your workspace, finishing a single task, or taking a short walk, you introduce structure and clarity. This structure provides stability, reminding you that you have influence over your actions, and that influence directly counters anxiety. The key to effective goal setting is to keep them small, specific, and achievable. Large, vague objectives often become a source of stress rather than motivation. Breaking them into manageable steps ensures that each achievement is realistic and reinforcing. For example, instead of saying, "I want to get healthy," choose, "I will walk for 20 minutes today," or "I will prepare a balanced meal for lunch." These small commitments are simple yet powerful, creating tangible wins that reinforce your ability to act with purpose. Starting with one or two small goals each day allows you to build consistency without overwhelming yourself. The repetition of success trains your brain to anticipate positive outcomes and strengthens self-efficacy. As your confidence grows, you can gradually increase the complexity or number of goals, but the foundation remains rooted in achievable action. Momentum develops quietly but powerfully, and over time, your mind internalizes a sense of control that anxiety cannot erode. Accountability enhances this process. Share your goals with someone you trust or record them in a journal. Writing down your intentions makes them concrete and adds a layer of commitment. Checking off completed goals provides visible evidence of progress, which is both motivating and reinforcing. This feedback loop encourages consistent effort and gradually rewires your brain to focus on accomplishment rather than worry. Small daily goals also help in managing emotional weight. Anxiety often grows when you feel helpless or stuck. By completing even minor tasks, you counter feelings of helplessness and prove to yourself that action is possible. Each success, no matter how modest, is a reminder that you are capable of navigating challenges. This sense of agency is a critical shield against the paralyzing effects of fear and worry. Prioritization is an essential component. Not every goal carries equal weight, and choosing tasks that matter most allows your effort to yield maximum impact. Focus on goals that improve your mental, emotional, or physical state first. Completing these tasks establishes a baseline of accomplishment and stability, making it easier to address other responsibilities without anxiety dominating your mind. Consistency matters more than intensity. Even when goals are small, completing them every day builds a habit of action and responsibility. The cumulative effect of repeated success is profound. Your mind begins to expect accomplishment, and failure becomes less threatening because it is balanced by a steady stream of small victories. Over time, this pattern reinforces resilience and shifts your internal dialogue from doubt to confidence. Daily goal setting also creates clarity in decision-making. When you know what needs to be done today, your mind spends less energy worrying about what might or might not happen. Clear focus reduces mental clutter, allowing you to dedicate energy to meaningful action. The act of completing tasks systematically strengthens executive function, reduces procrastination, and minimizes the mental friction that fuels anxious thoughts. Celebrating achievements, no matter how small, reinforces the value of your effort. Take a moment to acknowledge that finishing a single task is proof of competence. These celebrations do not need to be elaborate. Simple recognition of success is enough to create positive reinforcement. This habit encourages a mindset where progress is valued over perfection, and this mindset naturally diminishes anxiety's power. Flexibility is important. Life is unpredictable, and goals may sometimes need adjustment. Adapting goals when necessary demonstrates mastery rather than weakness. Shifting expectations based on circumstances shows that you are in control of how you respond, not rigidly tied to a plan. This approach balances determination with wisdom, reinforcing emotional stability. Daily goals are also powerful tools for breaking larger challenges into manageable parts. When faced with complex problems, anxiety often grows because the mind perceives them as impossible. By identifying a single small action each day that contributes to the larger outcome, you create progress without being overwhelmed. Step by step, the larger challenge becomes manageable, and your confidence in handling it increases steadily. Reflection enhances the effectiveness of daily goals. At the end of each day, review what was accomplished and how it made you feel. Recognize patterns, identify obstacles, and adjust goals accordingly. Reflection provides insight, reinforces achievements, and strengthens your ability to plan for the future. This practice builds self-awareness and ensures that each day contributes to both progress and emotional balance. Setting daily goals also cultivates discipline. Anxiety often thrives when the mind feels unstructured and reactive. Intentional goal setting trains your brain to act with purpose and consistency. Discipline does not suppress emotion. It provides a framework for navigating feelings with clear, productive action. Over time, the habit of daily goals becomes a stabilizing force that quiets chaos in both thought and behavior. Integration into routines ensures that goal setting becomes natural, rather than burdensome. Pair goal setting with morning rituals, journaling, or evening reflection. Embedding it into existing patterns reduces friction and increases the likelihood of sustained practice. Over time, the habit becomes automatic, forming a foundation of control that underpins mental clarity and emotional resilience. Account for balance. Goals should address multiple aspects of life: mental, physical, and emotional. By diversifying your daily objectives, you ensure that progress in one area supports overall well-being. A single positive action compounds with others, creating a holistic sense of control and achievement that strengthens your ability to handle stress and reduces anxiety. Daily goals also empower you to reclaim time. Anxiety often arises when you feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of tasks or obligations. Focusing on specific, manageable objectives allows you to allocate energy efficiently, preventing burnout and minimizing feelings of helplessness. Each task completed is evidence that you are capable of directing your time and resources effectively. The process teaches patience and persistence. Some goals will be easier than others, and occasional setbacks are inevitable. What matters is consistent effort, not perfection. Repeatedly practicing goal setting, even in the face of difficulty, strengthens resilience. Over time, you internalize a belief that progress is inevitable when effort is consistent, and this belief itself diminishes anxiety. Small daily goals are not minor. They are the building blocks of mental strength. They cultivate a sense of control, foster confidence, and provide tangible evidence that you can manage life's challenges. By committing to clear, achievable objectives each day, you transform overwhelming stress into structured, manageable action. This disciplined approach creates momentum, quiets the anxious mind, and restores a lasting sense of balance, stability, and empowerment that shapes every aspect of your life. Chapter 14, Practice Mindful Walking to anchor your attention now. Every step you take can become a powerful tool for calmness when you learn to walk with full awareness, anchoring your mind in the present moment and quieting anxious thoughts that pull you into the past or future. Mindful walking is more than exercise. It is a practice of attention, a way to train your mind to focus fully on the now. Anxiety thrives on distraction, worry, and anticipation. But when you place your awareness on each movement, each breath, and each sensation, you reclaim control over your mental state. This simple practice is accessible to everyone and has the power to transform your daily experience, grounding you in stability and peace. Begin by noticing your body as it moves. Feel the connection of your feet with the ground, the rhythm of your steps, and the shifting weight from one leg to the other. These sensations are anchors that bring your attention into your body and out of spiraling thoughts. The mind often races, imagining what might go wrong or replaying events from the past. But mindful walking interrupts this cycle, pulling you back into concrete, observable reality. With practice, each step becomes a meditation, a rhythm that restores clarity and calm. Breathing intentionally during walking enhances the effect. But pay attention to the inhale and exhale, coordinating your breath with your steps. If it feels natural, inhale for a count of 3 steps and exhale for 3 steps. This synchronization creates a steady, grounding rhythm that calms the nervous system. By pairing movement with mindful breathing, you strengthen your ability to remain present, reduce tension, and lower the physiological symptoms of anxiety such as racing heart or shallow breathing. Observation of the environment deepens mindfulness. Notice the textures of the path, the sounds around you, the temperature of the air, or the colors of trees, buildings, or the sky. Avoid judgment or labeling. Simply observe. Engaging your senses fully in the present moment interrupts the habitual thought patterns that fuel anxiety. Your mind begins to settle because it is occupied with real, tangible experience rather than imagined threats or worries. Mindful walking also provides a break from mental clutter. Many people carry a constant stream of tasks, responsibilities, and pressures in their mind. Walking intentionally allows these thoughts to exist without grabbing your focus. You can acknowledge a worry, label it, and then return your attention to your movement, your breath, and your environment. This practice strengthens cognitive control, teaching your brain that it can observe thoughts without being hijacked by them. Consistency is key. Even a few minutes of mindful walking daily produces noticeable benefits. Over time, your nervous system becomes conditioned to respond with calm when you engage in this practice. Your mind learns that you can slow down, pay attention, and regulate your emotions. And these lessons carry over into other areas of life. Anxiety becomes more manageable because you have a reliable tool to regain focus and calm. Mindful walking can also cultivate gratitude and appreciation. By slowing down and noticing the world around you, you become aware of small details often overlooked. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of birds, or the gentle sway of leaves. Recognizing these small wonders shifts focus from what is troubling to what is present and good. Gratitude naturally reduces anxious thinking because it trains your mind to prioritize what is stable and positive, rather than what is uncertain or fearful. Physical awareness during walking is important. Notice muscle tension, posture, and alignment. Adjust gently to promote comfort and ease. This attention not only prevents strain but also reinforces the connection between mind and body. Anxiety often manifests physically in stiff shoulders, tight jaws, or shallow breathing. Mindful walking provides a chance to release these tensions, creating a sense of lightness and grounding that supports emotional balance. Mindful walking can be practiced anywhere. A quiet park, a city sidewalk, or even a hallway at home can serve as the setting. The practice is portable and does not require special equipment or preparation. What matters is the intention to focus fully on the present. Observe without judgment, and return attention to movement and breath whenever the mind wanders. This accessibility makes it a practical daily tool for anyone seeking calm. You can also integrate reflective questions into your walk. Ask yourself, what am I noticing right now? Or where's my attention? These prompts reinforce the habit of returning to the present. By actively checking in with your awareness, you strengthen mental discipline, reduce rumination, and increase the clarity of thought. Reflection during walking enhances self-understanding and promotes emotional regulation. Mindful walking also strengthens patience. The mind often wants immediate relief from anxiety or quick answers to problems. Walking slowly and deliberately teaches that calm is cultivated gradually. Each step is an exercise in patience, a demonstration that control over your mind is developed through consistent, intentional action. With patience comes resilience, and with resilience, anxiety loses its power. Social interaction during mindful walking can add depth, but must remain supportive. Walking with a friend or loved one, while maintaining focus on awareness, can strengthen connection without distraction. Sharing observations, discussing sensations, or simply enjoying presence together reinforces calm and builds emotional support. Mindful walking in community demonstrates that grounding practices can coexist with healthy social bonds. Tracking progress deepens impact. Note changes in how you feel after a mindful walk versus a distracted one. Observe improvements in focus, reduction in anxious thought patterns, or increased energy. Awareness of growth reinforces motivation and commitment to the practice. Each walk becomes measurable progress, a step not just physically but mentally and emotionally. Intentionality transforms ordinary movement into a powerful tool. Walking mindlessly provides little benefit, but walking with purpose, attention, and awareness engages the brain in ways that promote calm, clarity, and control. Each session strengthens neural pathways associated with presence, emotional regulation, and resilience, creating a long-term defense against anxiety. Finally, integrate mindful walking as part of a daily ritual. Begin or end your day with this practice, or use it as a reset during stressful moments. The regularity of engagement builds habit, ensuring that mindful walking becomes a reliable anchor for your attention and your emotional balance. Over time, each walk cultivates a mind that is grounded, responsive rather than reactive, and capable of facing challenges with steady focus and composure. Mindful walking is more than a practice. It is a method to reclaim attention, stabilize emotion, and strengthen presence. Each step, each breath, and each observation anchors your mind in now, diminishing the influence of worry and fear. By committing to this practice, you transform movement into meditation, distraction into focus, and anxiety into calm awareness. Every walk becomes a step toward mastery of your mind and a life lived fully in the present. Chapter 15, reduce screen time to give your mind needed rest. Your mind deserves rest just as much as your body does. And one of the most powerful ways to restore clarity and calm is by reducing the endless hours spent in front of screens. Modern life constantly pulls attention toward phones, computers, televisions, and tablets. And while these devices are useful, they overload the brain with nonstop stimulation. Every notification, every scroll, and every flashing image keeps your mind on high alert, leaving little space for true rest. Without realizing it, you may be draining your focus and fueling your anxiety through constant digital engagement. Reducing screen time is not about cutting off technology completely, but about reclaiming balance so your mind can reset and breathe again. The human brain was not designed to process the flood of information presented by screens. Social media feeds, news updates, emails, and advertisements all compete for attention, creating mental noise that adds to stress and emotional fatigue. The constant switching between apps, conversations, and entertainment fragments focus, training the brain to jump rapidly rather than sustain attention. Over time, this fragmentation erodes patience, reduces concentration, and increases anxiety. By limiting screen exposure, you allow your brain to slow down, process at a natural pace, and regain the capacity for deeper focus and calm. Sleep quality is one of the first areas harmed by excessive screen use. Blue light from screens interferes with the natural production of melatonin, the hormone responsible for sleep regulation. Watching videos late at night or scrolling through feeds in bed makes it harder to fall asleep and reduces the restorative depth of rest. Poor sleep feeds directly into higher stress levels, irritability, and mental fog. Establishing boundaries with screens before bedtime creates the conditions for better rest, allowing your mind to recover and prepare for the next day with clarity. Reducing screen time also helps restore emotional stability. Online platforms are often filled with exaggerated negativity, comparisons, or alarming headlines designed to capture attention. Constant exposure to these inputs reinforces worry and tension. When you reduce consumption, you protect your emotional space from unnecessary triggers. Instead of reacting to every headline or measuring yourself against unrealistic portrayals of others, you create room for your own thoughts and values. This shift in focus builds resilience and strengthens your ability to manage anxiety. Practical steps make this change easier. Begin by setting clear boundaries for when and how you use screens. Create device-free zones in your home, such as the dining table or bedroom, to encourage more intentional living. Replace automatic scrolling with purposeful activities. Reading a book, writing in a journal, exercising, or simply sitting quietly. The more you fill your time with meaningful alternatives, the less you will feel the urge to default to digital distraction. Breaks during the day also matter. Many people spend long hours working in front of computers, and without conscious pauses, mental fatigue builds quickly. Incorporating short breaks every hour, stepping outside, stretching, or simply closing your eyes reduces the cognitive load. These pauses act as resets, giving the mind a chance to relax and restore focus before diving back into tasks. Even small reductions in screen exposure during the day accumulate into noticeable improvements in mood and energy. Social connections benefit from reduced screen use as well. Too often, digital communication replaces face-to-face interaction, which carries deeper emotional impact. Choosing to put devices aside when spending time with others enhances presence, strengthens relationships, and fosters genuine connection. Real conversations provide the kind of support and grounding that screens cannot replicate. This human contact is a powerful antidote to the loneliness and overstimulation that often come from excessive digital dependence. Physical health improves too. Prolonged screen time contributes to poor posture, eye strain, and reduced movement. By stepping away from devices, you naturally encourage more physical activity, whether it is walking, stretching, or simply moving around. Movement not only strengthens the body, but also relieves tension, increases circulation, and supports a healthier nervous system. These physical benefits reinforce emotional balance, creating a cycle of improvement in both body and mind. Intentional digital detox periods can be especially effective. Setting aside specific hours or even entire days without screens provides profound mental relief. During these times, you may notice in creativity, sharper focus, and a calmer emotional state. By disconnecting, you reconnect with yourself, your surroundings, and the present moment. These pauses remind you that technology is a tool to be used wisely, not a force that controls your every moment. It is also valuable to track your screen habits. Many devices now provide usage reports, showing how much time is spent on different apps or activities. Reviewing these numbers often reveals surprising patterns. Awareness of how much time is lost to scrolling or streaming becomes motivation to change. Setting achievable goals for reduction, such as cutting 1 hour of screen time per day, creates momentum and builds discipline. Replacing screen use with intentional practices enhances results. Meditation, mindful walking, cooking a meal, or engaging in hobbies stimulate the brain in healthier ways. These activities provide relaxation without overstimulation, fostering deeper satisfaction and reducing reliance on digital distraction. The key is not just to reduce screens, but to actively build habits that nurture rest and resilience. Reducing screen time also cultivates presence. With fewer digital interruptions, you notice details around you more vividly. The sound of nature, the feel of your breath, the warmth of human connection. Presence brings calm and clarity, grounding you in reality rather than scattering your attention across dozens of virtual inputs. This grounded awareness weakens the grip of anxiety, giving you a stronger sense of control. Boundaries with screens require discipline, but the payoff is freedom. By setting limits, you gain back hours of your life for rest, growth, and connection. You strengthen the ability to focus, create space for self-care, and build a healthier relationship with technology. These choices lead to less tension, better sleep, improved health, and stronger emotional stability. The goal is not rejection of technology, but mastery over its role in your life. When you decide how and when to engage, screens become tools that serve you instead of sources of exhaustion. Each step away from mindless digital consumption is a step toward a quieter mind, a calmer body, and a more intentional life. By reducing screen time, you protect your mental energy, restore balance, and give your mind the rest it needs to thrive. Chapter 16. Breathe slowly before reacting to stressful daily triggers. Strength is not measured by how loudly you react, but by how calmly you respond. And the simplest way to reclaim your calm is to breathe slowly before letting stress take control. Every single day presents countless small challenges. Traffic delays, critical emails, unexpected bills, careless words from others that easily spark irritation or anxiety. The instinctive reaction is to tense up, to snap back, or to carry the weight of frustration. Yet those first few seconds after a trigger are the most powerful opportunity you have. By pausing and drawing a slow, intentional breath, you interrupt the automatic cycle of stress and give your mind the space to choose a better response. When a stressful trigger arises, the body immediately shifts into fight or flight mode. The heart races, muscles tighten, and thoughts rush forward in a flood of negative possibilities. This is a survival mechanism, but in daily life it often creates more harm than help. A slow, deep breath disrupts that cascade. Oxygen flows in, the nervous system signals safety, and the body begins to relax. That pause alone is enough to shift perspective from impulse to clarity. With practice, this habit becomes a shield against overreaction, allowing you to move through stress with control rather than chaos. Breathing slowly is not complicated. Inhale deeply through your nose, feeling your lungs expand. Hold briefly and exhale gently through your mouth. Even one cycle can soften tension in the chest and clear the racing of thoughts. 3 or 4 slow breaths can completely transform how you feel in a stressful moment. Instead of being swept away by frustration or fear, you return to a state where rational thinking is possible. This simple act reminds you that while you may not control the trigger, You always control your response. Over time, this practice rewires the way you deal with challenges. Each time you choose to breathe before reacting, you train your mind to value patience over haste. This builds resilience. Triggers that once set off anger or worry lose their grip because you've developed a new default pattern. Pause first. Respond second. Life doesn't become free of problems, but your ability to handle them grows stronger. You begin to meet stress with steadiness rather than spiraling emotion. The benefits extend beyond immediate calm. Consistent slow breathing lowers overall stress levels, reduces blood pressure, and supports healthier heart rhythms. These physical effects create a foundation of stability, making it easier to face difficult situations without backing down. Breathing deeply is a natural reset button that restores balance to both body and mind. When practiced regularly, it builds a reservoir of calm you can draw from whenever life tests your patience. Imagine being in a heated conversation. Words are sharp, emotions high, and your instinct is to defend yourself instantly. If you jump in without pausing, regret often follows. But if you breathe slowly before speaking, you give yourself the advantage of measured thought. Instead of reacting with anger, you may respond with clarity. Instead of escalating conflict, you can de-escalate it. That pause doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. It allows you to protect your peace without sacrificing your dignity. This skill is equally powerful in moments of anxiety. When the mind starts racing with what-if scenarios, slow breathing grounds you in the present moment. It signals to your body that there is no immediate danger, even when your thoughts insist otherwise. The more you return to your breath, the less control anxious triggers have over you. You learn to respond from a place of calm instead of panic, and this shift slowly reduces the overall hold of anxiety in your daily life. You can practice anywhere, standing in line, sitting in traffic, or waiting for an appointment. The beauty of slow breathing is that it requires no equipment, no special location, and no extra time. It is always available, always within reach. Each time you use it, you strengthen the habit. What begins as a conscious effort gradually becomes second nature, transforming stressful triggers into reminders to slow down instead of reasons to spiral. Breathing slowly before reacting also protects your relationships. Quick reactions often lead to harsh words that cannot be taken back. But when you pause, you give yourself the chance to speak with respect, even in disagreement. This small discipline prevents unnecessary damage and builds trust with those around you. People feel heard and valued when you respond thoughtfully, and this creates stronger bonds even in moments of conflict. The power of this practice lies in its consistency. One slow breath may calm you in the moment, but repeated practice shapes your entire approach to stress. Each day provides countless opportunities to build this muscle. Every traffic jam, every misunderstanding, every unexpected inconvenience can become a training ground. Instead of resenting these moments, use them as chances to strengthen your ability to pause. Over weeks and months, you will notice a profound difference in how you experience life. Stress won't disappear, but it will lose its power to dominate your mood or dictate your actions. When you look back, you will realize that the most important victories were not won in dramatic battles, but in small choices, choosing to breathe instead of snap, choosing to pause instead of panic, choosing to hold your calm instead of giving it away. These daily wins compound into a life marked by strength, clarity, and inner peace. So when the next stressful trigger comes your way, and it surely will, remember that you hold the power in your breath. Before reacting, inhale deeply, slow yourself down, and let calm guide your response. That single pause may change the outcome of the moment, protect your peace, and remind you that true strength begins with control of yourself. This is not just a technique, it is a way of living with purpose, clarity, and resilience. Chapter 17, Simplify Your Schedule to avoid unnecessary mental pressure. Freedom begins the moment you take control of your time, and simplifying your schedule is one of the most powerful steps you can take to protect your mind from unnecessary stress. Too often, people confuse being busy with being productive. They fill their days with endless commitments, trying to please everyone and meet every man, until their energy is drained and their spirit feels heavy. The truth is, a cluttered schedule steals peace and scatters focus, while a simplified one creates space for clarity, purpose, and balance. When you carry too many obligations, every small task feels like a burden. You wake up already behind, rushing from one responsibility to another, constantly checking the clock, and never feeling caught up. That constant pressure erodes mental peace and leaves little room for joy. Simplifying your schedule does not mean doing nothing. It means choosing wisely what truly deserves your time. By letting go of unnecessary tasks, you reclaim control and create breathing room in your day. One of the most powerful questions you can ask yourself is, does this activity bring value to my life? If the answer is no, it may be time to release it. Many people overcommit because they fear disappointing others, or believe they must always stay busy to be worthy. But real strength comes from protecting your priorities. When you free yourself from obligations that do not align with your goals, you open space for what truly matters: your health, your relationships, your growth, and your peace of mind. Simplifying your schedule is also about learning the discipline of saying no. This is not about being selfish, but about respecting your limits. Every time you say yes to something unnecessary, you are saying no to your own well-being. Stress builds when your plate is overflowing, and no amount of willpower can create more hours in the day. By setting clear boundaries and being selective about your commitments, you preserve the energy needed for the things that align with your purpose. Consider how many small distractions creep into your day: checking notifications dozens of times, attending meetings that accomplish little, saying yes to favors that could be declined. Each of these may seem small, but together they create a heavy load. Simplifying means removing or reducing these drains on your time. You don't need to fill every empty space in your calendar. In fact, leaving open time is one of the healthiest habits you can cultivate. It gives you space to rest, reflect, and respond thoughtfully to life instead of always reacting in a rush. A simplified schedule doesn't only benefit your mind, it benefits your productivity as well. When you focus on fewer tasks, you can give them your full attention and complete them with higher quality. Multitasking often leads to mistakes and fatigue, but narrowing your focus brings better results with less effort. This shift also creates a deeper sense of accomplishment, because you finish what truly matters, rather than scattering your energy across dozens of half-completed tasks. Simplifying your schedule also strengthens your relationships. When you are always overwhelmed, you may find yourself distracted, impatient, or too exhausted to connect with others meaningfully. By reducing unnecessary pressure, you create more space for genuine connection with family, friends, and even with yourself. These quiet, unrushed moments are where joy often lives. Without them, life becomes a blur of obligations, without fulfillment. To simplify effectively, start by writing down everything that fills your week. Then identify what is essential and what is optional. You will likely discover tasks that can be delegated, postponed, or removed altogether. This exercise can be uncomfortable at first, especially if you are used to measuring your worth by how much you do. But clarity comes when you see in black and white how much of your time is consumed by what doesn't truly matter. That awareness is the first step toward meaningful change. Remember that simplifying is not a one-time act, but a continuous practice. New demands will always arise, and without vigilance, your schedule can easily fill up again. That is why it is important to regularly review your commitments and adjust as needed. Each adjustment is an act of self-respect, a reminder that your time is limited and deserves to be guarded carefully. Another important part of this process is aligning your schedule with your values. Ask yourself what kind of life you want to live, and then let your calendar reflect that vision. If health is a priority, make space for rest and exercise. If family matters most, ensure your time reflects that. If personal growth is important, carve out space for learning and reflection. When your schedule aligns with your values, life feels less like a constant battle and more like a steady flow toward your goals. It's also worth noting that simplifying your schedule builds resilience. When your days are already overloaded, even small disruptions, a delayed appointment, a sudden responsibility, an unexpected problem can push you over the edge. But when your schedule has space, you can absorb these challenges without collapsing under pressure. That flexibility gives you strength to handle life's unpredictability with calm instead of panic. Technology plays a role here too. Many people fill their time with digital noise, scrolling endlessly, consuming information that adds little value, or engaging in online obligations that drain more than they give. Simplifying your schedule means being intentional about your digital habits as well. Limit what does not serve you and reclaim that time for activities that build energy instead of draining it. As you simplify, you may feel a sense of guilt or fear of missing out. This is natural, but remember that true fulfillment doesn't come from doing everything. It comes from doing the right things with intention. Every great achievement, every deep relationship, every sense of peace is built not by constant busyness, but by deliberate focus. Simplifying your schedule creates the foundation for that focus. When you take this step, you'll notice the difference in your mental state. Waking up will feel less like entering a battlefield and more like beginning a meaningful journey. Your days will carry less pressure and more flow. You'll find yourself able to think clearly, make decisions confidently, and enjoy the present moment fully. This transformation is not about changing who you are, but about removing the weight of unnecessary obligations so the best version of you can rise. So guard your time with strength. Remove what does not serve you. Protect the peace that comes from simplicity. Life is not meant to be an endless checklist. It is meant to be lived with clarity, focus, and calm. The moment you simplify your schedule, you reclaim your freedom, and with that freedom comes the space to grow, to love, to create, and to truly live. Chapter 18. Reflect on progress daily to build inner confidence. Confidence doesn't appear overnight. It grows every single day through reflection, awareness, and acknowledgement of how far you've come. When you take even a few minutes each day to look back at your actions, your choices, and the steps you've taken, you begin to see proof that you are moving forward. Progress is not always loud or dramatic. Often it's small, steady, and quiet. But when you recognize it, you strengthen your belief in yourself. And that belief builds the foundation of lasting inner confidence. Too many people rush through their days without ever pausing to notice what they've achieved. They measure themselves only by distant goals, and in doing so, they miss the victories that happen along the way. That constant pressure can make you feel like you're never enough, no matter how hard you work. But when you reflect on progress daily, you remind yourself that every effort counts. You see evidence that you're moving in the right direction, and that awareness shifts how you carry yourself in every part of life. Daily reflection is powerful because it keeps you grounded in reality instead of letting your mind get lost in doubt or comparison. When you look at what you've accomplished, you no longer feel like you're standing still. You begin to trust that your efforts matter. Even on days when results feel small, noticing that you showed up, that you tried, that you made one step forward, gives you strength. Over time, these daily acknowledgments accumulate into an unshakable sense of confidence. The act of reflection doesn't need to be complicated. It can be as simple as asking yourself at the end of the day, what did I do today that moved me forward? What challenge did I face and overcome? What lesson did I learn? These questions shift your focus from what's missing to what's growing. And as you answer them consistently, you create a record of progress that becomes undeniable. On days when self-doubt tries to creep in, this record reminds you that you are capable, resilient, and moving forward. Reflection also helps you see patterns in your actions. You start noticing what behaviors bring you closer to your goals and what habits hold you back. This clarity is powerful because confidence doesn't come only from feeling good about yourself. It also comes from knowing that you can improve. Each day becomes an opportunity to adjust, refine, and move forward with greater wisdom. And that wisdom makes you trust yourself more deeply. One of the greatest benefits of daily reflection is that it shifts your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles endlessly and start seeing yourself as someone who grows, someone who adapts, someone who takes steps forward no matter what. This change in self-image transforms the way you act. When you believe you're capable of progress, you naturally take bolder actions, and those actions create even more progress. It's a cycle of growth and confidence reinforcing one another. Imagine ending each day with a sense of accomplishment instead of exhaustion. Not because you did everything perfectly, but because you know you gave effort, you learned, and you moved forward in some way. That feeling builds resilience. It keeps you motivated to continue. And when you wake up the next morning, you carry that confidence with you into new challenges. Each day becomes less about fear of failure and more about trust in your ability to rise again and again. It's important to remember that reflection is not about perfection. It's not about judging yourself harshly or obsessing over mistakes. Instead, it's about recognizing growth, however small it may be. When you reflect with kindness and honesty, you create an inner environment where confidence can flourish. You stop tearing yourself down and start building yourself up. This change in mindset is what separates people who remain stuck from those who move forward consistently. Daily reflection also strengthens gratitude. As you look back on your progress, you notice not only your own efforts, but also the support, opportunities, and lessons life has given you. Gratitude amplifies confidence because it reminds you that you are not alone and that good things surround you, even in difficult times. This perspective keeps your mind steady and your spirit strong, making it easier to believe in yourself when challenges arise. If you want to deepen the habit of reflection, you can keep a simple journal. Write down a few lines each night about what you accomplished, what you learned, and what you're proud of. Over time, this journal becomes a powerful record of your journey. On days when you feel weak or doubtful, reading back over your own words reminds you of your strength. This practice builds confidence not from empty encouragement, but from solid evidence of who you are becoming. Another way to reflect is through conversation. Share your progress with a trusted friend or mentor who can remind you of your growth when you forget. Sometimes others see our progress more clearly than we do. Their encouragement, combined with your own reflection, creates a powerful reinforcement of confidence. Daily reflection also helps you see how far you've come compared to where you started. Many times people focus only on how far they have left to go, and that mindset makes the journey feel endless. But when you look back at your starting point, you see the strength you've built, the challenges you've faced, and the growth that has already happened. That perspective is deeply empowering because it proves that progress is real and ongoing. When you make reflection a daily habit, you start to live with more intentionality. Each day feels meaningful because you know you'll look back on it at night. This awareness makes you more mindful of your actions and choices. Instead of drifting through life on autopilot, you become deliberate about how you spend your time and energy. And that intentional living naturally strengthens your confidence because you know you are in control of your growth. Confidence built through reflection is far stronger than confidence based on external validation. External praise can feel good, but it fades quickly if you don't believe in yourself. Reflection, on the other hand, creates confidence from within, based on your own recognition of your progress. No one can take that away from you. It becomes a quiet, steady strength that supports you in every area of life. As you practice this habit, you may notice that your inner dialogue changes. Instead of constantly criticizing yourself, you begin to acknowledge your efforts and appreciate your growth. This shift in self-talk transforms your mindset. You start treating yourself as someone who is capable, worthy, and moving forward. And when your inner voice supports you instead of tearing you down, your confidence grows naturally and powerfully. The beauty of daily reflection is that it compounds over time. A single day of progress may feel small, but when you stack days upon days, you build undeniable momentum. After weeks, months, and years, you will look back and see just how far you've come. And the confidence you've built through this consistent practice will give you the strength to face even greater challenges with courage. So commit to the practice of reflecting daily. End each day with awareness, acknowledgement, and appreciation for your progress. Recognize the steps you've taken, the lessons you've learned, and the growth you've achieved. Let each reflection build a stronger foundation of confidence within you. When you do this consistently, you will no longer wonder if you're capable. You will know it. And that knowing will carry you through every challenge life places in your path. Chapter 19, accept what you cannot control to free your mind. Freedom begins the moment you stop fighting battles you were never meant to control. Much of the tension in your mind does not come from the challenges themselves, but from the resistance you build by trying to change things that lie outside your influence. Every day, people exhaust themselves trying to rewrite the past, force others to act differently, or control outcomes that are shaped by countless factors beyond their reach. This effort not only drains energy, but also creates constant anxiety, because the mind never finds rest when it obsesses over what it cannot command. True peace comes when you shift your focus away from what is unchangeable and direct it toward the areas where your actions genuinely matter. When you hold on to control too tightly, your mind becomes a battlefield. Every disappointment feels like a personal failure, and every obstacle feels heavier than it truly is. But when you accept that there are limits to what you can change, you create space for calm. You no longer demand perfection from yourself or others, and you stop carrying burdens that were never yours to begin with. This acceptance is not weakness, it is wisdom. It shows strength to step back and say, this is beyond me, and I choose not to let it steal my peace. One of the most powerful practices for freeing your mind is distinguishing between what is within your control and what is not. Your thoughts, choices, actions, and responses are always under your influence. The opinions of others, the weather, the passage of time, or unexpected events are not. By recognizing this line clearly, you avoid wasting energy on the uncontrollable. This clarity allows you to invest more deeply in what you can truly shape: your mindset, your habits, your resilience, and your character. Imagine a life where you no longer spiral when plans fall apart or when someone else lets you down. Instead of clinging to frustration, you acknowledge the situation for what it is and redirect your focus to what you can do next. This shift lightens the mental load you carry. It makes every challenge easier to face because you stop wrestling with reality and start working with it. Life becomes less of a struggle and more of a process of adaptation. Accepting what you cannot control also makes you more present. Anxiety often comes from living in the future, worrying about outcomes you cannot guarantee. Regret comes from living in the past, wishing things had unfolded differently. But peace exists only in the present moment. When you accept the limits of your control, you naturally return your attention to the present, because that is the only place where your actions have meaning. And in the present, you find strength, clarity, and focus. A practical step is to pause whenever you feel overwhelmed and ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, take action. If the answer is no, let it go and shift your energy towards something useful. This habit builds mental discipline, training your mind to release unnecessary worries. With time, your brain learns not to chase every fear or frustration, but instead to conserve energy for meaningful action. This practice does not mean you stop caring about outcomes or give up on ambition. It means you stop attaching your peace of mind to things you cannot guarantee. For example, you cannot control whether others appreciate your efforts, but you can control the effort you put in. You cannot control every twist of the future, but you can prepare, learn, and act wisely today. When you live by this principle, you no longer crumble when things don't go your way, because your confidence rests on what you can always control yourself. Many people think acceptance equals surrender, but in reality, it gives you more strength. By removing the weight of the uncontrollable, you have more energy to act where it matters most. You stop scattering your focus in every direction and begin concentrating it on actions that actually create results. This makes you not only calmer, but also more effective. Acceptance is not passive, it is the foundation of productive living. There will always be events that test your ability to practice this. Unexpected loss, rejection, delays, or sudden changes will challenge your patience and resolve. But each moment of struggle is also an opportunity to reinforce this mindset. You cannot stop storms from coming, but you can decide how you will stand through them. When you accept the storm as part of life, you no longer panic. Instead, you find stability in your choices, and you endure with grace. Freeing your mind through acceptance also strengthens your relationships. When you stop trying to control others, their opinions, their reactions, their decisions, you allow space for healthier connections. You begin to listen more, judge less, and support without demanding. This change not only eases tension between you and others, but also frees you from the exhausting cycle of disappointment that comes from expecting people to be something they are not. A daily habit that reinforces this principle is reflection. At the end of each day, consider what challenges you faced, and ask yourself how much of your energy went toward things you could not control. Then identify how you responded and what you can improve tomorrow. This small practice sharpens your awareness and gradually trains your mind to release unnecessary mental battles. Accepting what you cannot control also nurtures resilience. Life will always bring uncertainty, but if your peace depends only on circumstances aligning perfectly, you will never feel steady. By releasing attachment to outcomes, you discover that your stability comes from within. This inner steadiness allows you to face the unknown with courage, because you trust yourself to handle whatever comes, regardless of how it unfolds. Over time, this mindset transforms your relationship with stress. Stress no longer feels like an unending storm, but like a series of choices. You recognize that while you cannot dictate every situation, you can always decide how to respond. That decision-making power gives you confidence and reduces anxiety, because you know you are never entirely powerless. Living with acceptance does not mean you stop striving. It means you strive with clarity, knowing where to place your energy and where to release it. You pursue goals passionately, but you also understand that outcomes are not guaranteed. This balance of effort and acceptance creates both peace and strength. You act with determination while maintaining calm, no matter the result. There is a kind of freedom in saying, "This is not mine to control." That freedom is not about indifference. It is about wisdom. It is the recognition that your life is better served by focusing on what you can change: your thoughts, your discipline, your resilience, your compassion. When you embrace this way of thinking, you free your mind from unnecessary struggle and create space for clarity, creativity, and peace. So as you move forward, remind yourself daily, accept what you cannot control, and put your energy into what you can. Each time you make this choice, your mind becomes lighter, your spirit stronger, and your life calmer. This is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice. And the more you live by it, the more unshakable your inner peace becomes. When the world feels heavy, you will stand firm, not because everything is in your hands, but because you have chosen to release what never needed to be carried. Chapter 20. Commit to daily self-care to maintain lasting calm. Lasting calm is not something you stumble upon. It is something you create every single day through consistent care for yourself. Too many people wait until exhaustion, stress, or chaos overwhelms them before they think about resting, slowing down, or nurturing their well-being. But calm is not built in a moment of crisis. It is cultivated in the ordinary habits that shape your daily life. Self-care is not selfish, it is survival. It is not a luxury reserved for special occasions. It is the foundation that allows you to function at your best, think clearly, and remain steady, no matter what life demands from you. When you commit to daily self-care, you are telling yourself that your peace matters. You are choosing to honor your body, your mind, and your emotions instead of pushing them aside. This commitment strengthens resilience, because every small act of care becomes a reminder that you deserve balance and strength. Imagine waking each day with the certainty that no matter how the world presses against you, you will carve out space to recharge and protect your energy. That certainty builds inner calm, because you are no longer at the mercy of external chaos. You have already built a sanctuary within. The truth is, calm does not appear magically. It requires intentional effort. Your routines determine your emotional stability more than circumstances do. When you start the day rushing, neglecting your needs, and reacting without pause, mind grows restless and fragile. But when you set aside moments to breathe, to nourish, to move your body, and to center your thoughts, you create a shield against unnecessary stress. These small moments mirror, and soon they become a powerful anchor. No storm can shake a person who has built a solid foundation of self-care. Think of your daily choices as investments. Skipping rest, ignoring your health, and neglecting reflection might save time in the short term, but they steal from your long-term peace. On the other hand, making time to rest, eat nourishing food, engage in movement, and reflect deeply gives you compound returns, greater energy, clarity, and patience. When you build these habits into your life, you no longer live in survival mode. You live with intention. Self-care also means listening to your body and respecting its signals. Fatigue, tension, and irritability are often warnings that you've pushed yourself too far without replenishing. Many ignore these signs until breakdown occurs. But when you pay attention early and respond with rest, hydration, movement, or stillness, you prevent the spiral into burnout. This simple awareness creates a cycle of calm because you no longer allow small problems to build into overwhelming struggles. Daily self-care is not only physical, it is also emotional. Guarding your mind is just as important as caring for your body. Allowing too much negativity, comparison, or distraction into your thoughts weakens your calm. But when you deliberately choose what you expose yourself to, what you watch, read, and dwell on, you protect your peace. Just as unhealthy food harms your body, unhealthy thoughts harm your mind. Choosing uplifting, encouraging, and empowering inputs is a powerful form of self-care that strengthens your inner stability. Equally important is creating moments of stillness. A fast-paced world constantly pulls your attention in countless directions, leaving your mind overstimulated and restless. Taking even a few minutes each day to sit quietly, breathe deeply, or meditate resets your nervous system. It allows your thoughts to slow, your emotions to settle, and your focus to sharpen. These short pauses are not wasted time. They are investments in your clarity and calm. Over time, they train your mind to remain steady, even in chaotic situations. Committing to self-care also means setting boundaries. Lasting calm cannot exist if you allow everyone else's demands to consume you without limit. Learning to say no, to step back, and to protect your time is essential. Boundaries are not walls that isolate you. They are fences that preserve your energy, so you can give your best without depleting yourself. Every time you enforce a healthy boundary, you reinforce the message that your well-being is valuable. Some people resist self-care because they see it as indulgent or unproductive. But what they fail to see is that neglecting self-care is far more costly. Without calm, your work suffers, your relationships weaken, and your health deteriorates. By caring for yourself, you actually become more capable, more present, and more effective. You show up better for others because you are not running on empty. Calmness multiplies your capacity, while neglect diminishes it. The key is consistency. One day of rest, or one moment of stillness is not enough to create lasting calm. It is the repeated daily commitment that transforms your inner state. Like exercise builds strength through repetition, self-care builds calm through steady practice. Each small choice compounds into a powerful mindset, making you stronger and more centered with time. You might think you don't have time for self-care, but the truth is you don't have time not to. The minutes you spend recharging save you hours of frustration and inefficiency later. A calm mind makes decisions faster, solves problems better, and communicates more clearly. Skipping self-care is like trying to run a race on empty. It only slows you down. By prioritizing yourself, you actually increase your ability to handle life with focus and energy. Daily self-care also deepens self-respect. When you take care of yourself, you are sending a message to your subconscious that you are worthy of time, effort, and love. This message builds confidence and dignity. It reminds you that you do not have to earn the right to rest or to feel peace. You already deserve it. This inner respect creates calm because it quiets the voice of self-criticism and replaces it with self-compassion. Lasting calm is not about avoiding all challenges. Life will still bring difficulties, but with daily self-care, you face them from a place of strength instead of depletion. You carry energy reserves, mental clarity, and emotional balance that allow you to respond wisely instead of reacting impulsively. Calm becomes your default state, not because life is easy, but because you have equipped yourself to handle it with stability. As you commit to this practice, you begin to notice subtle but powerful shifts. Stress does not overwhelm you as quickly. Small annoyances no longer steal your peace. You move through your day with greater patience because you are not constantly running on edge. Others may even notice the difference in your presence, sensing the calm and balance you carry. Your commitment not only transforms you, but also influences those around you, spreading steadiness and peace. The truth is, no one else can give you lasting calm. It must come from you. You cannot rely on circumstances, people, or luck to provide it. It is built through the choices you make daily. By committing to self-care, you take responsibility for your state of mind. And in doing so, you free yourself from dependence on external conditions. So choose today to make self-care a non-negotiable part of your life. Build routines that restore you. Protect your energy with boundaries. Feed your body, mind, and spirit with what strengthens you. Each day you do this, your calm deepens and your resilience grows. In time, you will realize that lasting calm is not fragile. It is unshakable because it was built deliberately, one day at a time, through your commitment to yourself.